What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty, and welcome to another amazing video. You can follow me on Patreon for exclusive stories.
3 id. Chapter 51. Roger, the god of pure love, is furious. A Tauren with one sword. Requesting flower reviews. Advertise here. I believe it. Always believe it. You will definitely come. Dia had a smile on her lips, and tears of joy and excitement couldn't stop sliding down her pretty face. Roger. She cooed, opened her arms, and was about to give Roger a big hug. Snapped. A soft sound. Ouch. Tia cried out softly in pain. She subconsciously covered her red forehead with her delicate hands. I've already said it so many times, don't force it, don't show off. Tia, could it be that you have mastered the 6 styles, so you can float? Roger smiled. Sorry. Tia lowered her head. Her delicate hands grasped the corners of her clothes. Like a kid who got caught doing something wrong. The familiar warm hand fell, touching her sky-blue hair gently. Forget it this time, I will come faster next time. Roger spoke gently. Tia nodded. Then suddenly he was stunned. He quickly shook off Roger's big hand. Mr. Roger, do you treat me as a child? I'm obviously 2 years older than you. Tia puffed her face angrily. Hey, but didn't you always call me brother and dad? The corner of Roger's mouth raised a subtle arc. Dia was stunned for a moment, then her pretty face turned red, and she waved her hands and shook her head in panic. It doesn't count, that doesn't count. It was obviously Roger who deliberately caused trouble, and I. Okay, just kidding, let's concentrate on solving the matter in front of us now. Roger held Tia in his arms and comforted her softly. Tisk. The purple electric light that enveloped the two people completely disappeared. Looking at the scene that appeared in the lightning, the two people hugged each other. The pupils of the pirates who gathered from all directions shrank suddenly. Not only is everything okay, there's actually one more person. Who is that man? What happened before? The ruthless thunder falling from the sky. Is he Marine Thunder Admiral Raymond? No, that's not right. I have encountered Marine's thunder before. He is not Raymond. Garrett the Iron Ox flatly denied it. It's okay if it's not. It's okay if it's not. Many pirates in the field exhaled in unison. But if not, what happened to the thunder and lightning? Hey, no matter what, as long as it's not Admiral, no matter how many people come, it's useless. Yes, but he is just a brat. What can he change? If he was also a Marine, wouldn't the bounty be worth another billion? Hey, I'll take the new 1 billion. The figure of Death's Scythe Ego, who had a bounty of 315 million berry, suddenly disappeared like a ghost. In silence, he came behind Roger and Tia. The large sickle in his hand shone with a cold light. 2 billion berries are mine. The dark sickle blade's sword energy surged. With a sharp edge that could easily cut through steel, it fell towards Roger's neck. Click. It was as if there was an invisible cold lightning appearing between heaven and earth. The long knife on Roger's waist seemed to be unsheathed, but it didn't seem to be there. However, Death's Scythe Ego's figure stagnated strangely and abruptly, and the expression on his face was also frozen. Click. A soft sound. The Shinigami scythe wrapped around armament hockey broke into 3 pieces. Also torn open was the body of the great pirate, Death's Scythe Ego, who had a bounty of over 300 million. Starting from the center of his eyebrows, a small trace of blood slowly appeared. Poof. The originally small blood stain suddenly expanded. Death's Scythe Ego's body split in half from the middle. Blood gushed out like a fountain. The amount of bleeding was huge. One sword style. Aye. This is a legendary sword skill that Roger picked up from a certain swordsman in Impel Down who was fond of swordsmanship. It was performed by Roger, who was close to the ultimate swordsman. The power of this sword skill has been brought to its ultimate level. It is more than 100 times more powerful than the one used by the fallen swordsman himself. Silence. A pin drop audible silence. The moment when I witnessed the Death's Scythe Ego split open. The huge snowfield battlefield fell into an unprecedented eerie silence. People's mouths dropped open, eyes wide open. The pupils shrank to the size of a needle tip and trembled uncontrollably. Emotions called shock and disbelief dominated their whole bodies. After a while, ship, Captain Egg. The deathly silence in the room was broken by the heart-rending screams of the Death Sickle Pirates crew. Gudong. People's atoms apples rolled continuously. SSSSSSSs. The air conditioning in the snowfield will be sucked up by the pirates. Hey, what happened before? Who can tell me what happened just now? What did that man do? Why did Death's Scythe Ego die? How did he die? Is it really the new kid? How could it be? No matter what, that's a big pirate with a bounty of over 300 million. The ability to easily kill 300 million pirates, and yet you are not considered admiral. It's so outrageous. Death's Scythe Ego. Just die like this. The expression on Tia's pretty face was also confused. After all, this is also a big pirate with a bounty of over 300 million. Even if she tries her best, she may not be able to win. However, it was just a face-to-face meeting before, and he was killed by Roger. What a huge gap in strength. Even crushing is not enough to describe it. Obviously he has become stronger, but the gap between him and Roger has become wider. What's wrong, Tia? You're not scared, are you? Roger smiled. Tia shook her head and murmured softly, "Hey, Roger, am I still half-assed in front of you now?" Half-assed? No, no, no. Roger waved his hand. Tia was overjoyed. But I heard Roger continue seriously, "You are only 1/3 half-assed now." Tia was stunned. Immediately, his little face puffed up angrily again. In the past, Roger had always said that she was just half-baked. Now her strength is at the Vice Admiral level that even old Carl recognizes. However, in Roger's case, it became more and more downgraded. From half-assed to 1/3 half-assed. Okay, don't be angry. When you can reach 1/10 of my strength, you will officially graduate from being a dabbler. Roger stroked Tia's little head soothingly. At the same time, he lightly stamped his right foot on the ground. Only a snapping sound was heard. Roger accidentally trampled a large mole into a pulp. Moo, ha 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 ha. The angry Manganiu laughed loudly. Garrett, the Iron Bull with a bounty of nearly 600 million berries, slowly walked out. His body swelled up against the storm and transformed into the most powerful half-beast, the Minotaur form. Marine's woman, Lousy already knows enough, that Brad is your little lover, so as long as I kill him, you will become my woman. Torin Garrett laughed confidently. He just finished speaking. Boom. Somewhere, an immense amount of Kamui pressure descended on him, causing his knees to buckle suddenly. The bull's eye that looked at Roger was no longer as frivolous as it was a second ago. What was left was only deep fear. Minotaur. Lousy hates Torin the most. As the god of pure love, Roger is furious. Lift the knife and go straight up. Chapter 52. Roger was so angry that he laid down millions of corpses and bled for thousands of miles. Please comment on flowers. Advertise here. One day, with the knife in hand, I can kill all the Torin in the world. This is the declaration of Roger, who was the god of pure love in his previous life. Just a joke. But now, the joke became reality. Come to the pirate world and start your second week of life. Roger has now become a real god of war. If you encounter a Torin, especially the true Torin who want to impress themselves, one by one, no mercy. Moo moo. The roar of the wild cow shook the flying snow from the sky. Under severe death threats, Iron Bull Garrett did not dare to show any further neglect. As the second echelon of strong men in the sea, all their power exploded. Vaguely, it was as if there was a shadowy figure of a wild bull roaring and neighing behind him. Dispel the pressure from Roger's high-level conquerors. Haki, who has reached level 4. Don't underestimate me, kid. Iron Bull Garrett roared. Captain, go on. A dozen crew members of the Iron Bull pirates joined forces. Throw a 3-meter giant trident. Iron Bull Garrett, whose body suddenly grew to 6 meters, took it steadily. Boom. The trident fell. The ground in the snowfield battlefield trembled slightly, and a huge crack opened. Moo. Wah! Iron Bull Garrett waved his trident and roared to the sky. It's like transforming into a crazy bull-headed devil. Increase your power further by howling. Take the move, kid, your bones and tendons will be broken under Lousy's power. Bull Demon. Garrett waved his trident. With a huge force, he hit Roger on the head. Roger never dodges or avoids. The high-end armament Haki in jet black appears like a tide, wrapped around his arm and long knife. Then he swung his sword out. Ding! The dazzling pure white impact light shines. A rumbling sound like the sky falling and the earth falling followed. The aftermath of the extremely powerful impact spread out in all directions. All the pirates in the dense snowy forest were stunned. Only a big pirate with a bounty of over 100 million can barely hold on and not retreat. What an idiot, that brat. Yeah, I thought he was a character before, but I didn't expect him to be a fool too. The killer brother with a reward of 300 million sneered. You actually took the initiative to compete with that big black bull. You were really asking for your own death. Captain Garrett's power is unparalleled in the world. Especially the captain in the form of the Minotaur, no one can win. Ha ha ha, it seems the battle is over. The Iron Ox pirates all laughed proudly. The next second, as expected, just as the pirates expected. The battle is over, but the result was slightly different from what they imagined. The dazzling light of impact subsided. People squinted their eyes and looked at the center of the battlefield without blinking. Then a pair of eyes gradually widened. Because Roger's blade did not touch the trident at all. However, accompanied by a heart-wrenching clicking sound. Gardna the Iron Bull has an armament color added, and the trident, which is comparable to a sharp sword, shows fine cracks. Roger took a step forward. A sword that was enough to crack the sky was completely slashed out. Click. The trident was completely broken. Iron Bull Garrett looked horrified. An uncontrollable ultimate fear arose in my heart. He knows. I chose the wrong opponent. The man in front of him was simply not something he could fight against. The man in front of him was even more terrifying than the Marine Admiral he had encountered before. Moo. No. Iron Bull Garrett's eyes widened. Want to escape. But couldn't run. Thoughts arise. Roger's knife, which seemed to be wrapped with black lightning, had already fallen. Not yet in contact with his body. But the terrifying power has already fallen first. The Iron Bull Garrett seemed to have been hit hard. The huge body couldn't stop shaking. Remember not to be a minotaur in the next life. Roger spoke coldly. Wow. The endless sword intent fell on Iron Bull Garrett like a tsunami. Boom. The huge Tauren ejected like a cannonball. It smashed through hundreds of meters of forest along the way. Finally, it hit the high rock wall heavily. A mouthful of blood mixed with internal organs spat out from the Tauren's mouth. His body, which was comparable to steel, was cut open. The internal organs in the body were also shattered by the penetrating sword intent. It is already impossible to survive. The soundless silence fell again. Captain Garrett, how could such a thing happen? No, I don't believe it. The Iron Ox pirates broke the dead silence in the forest. They ran towards their captain like crazy, trying to save him. Immediately afterwards, more pirates ran away as if they were crazy. What a joke. That's Garrett the Iron Bull, who has a bounty of nearly 600 million berries. He was actually killed by that man with one strike. Say he's not an admiral. Only a ghost can believe it. Admiral is here. Run, the monster is coming. The pirates all screamed in horror and fled for their lives. After witnessing the shocking scenes of Roger killing Ego the Killer and Garrett the Iron Bull one after another. No pirate can avoid being afraid of it. Even pirate captains with bounties worth over 100 million are no exception. If you want to run away, don't think that you can just let it go. Roger whispered coldly. Just killing 2 pirate captains couldn't reduce the anger in his heart. Tia, don't move around here, I'll be right back. Drop this sentence. Roger held the bloody long knife upside down. Like a tiger among sheep. Kill 1 person in 1 step. Leave no trace behind when traveling 1,000 miles. The pirates who were killed directly had heads rolling and blood flowing like rivers. Killer Brothers, Spring Man, Savage Bear, Dragon Man. Any pirate captain who was present previously. There is no Roger left. Kill them all with swords. 2 hours later, the Snow Island battlefield was quiet. The pure white Snow Island is dipped in deep red. Shocking. Roger was furious. Millions of corpses. Bleeding thousands of miles. Chapter 53A Bumper Harvest. LV5 Extreme Realm. The pinnacle of swordsmanship. Requesting flower reviews. Advertise here. The snow kept falling. Blood stays all the way. Floating Snow Island. An inch of mountains and rivers, an inch of blood. Elder sister. Something big happened. Something terrible is happening outside. The surviving members of the White Pearl group reunited in the cave where they lived. Sister, there are monsters infesting this island. No, that's the Blood Devil. No, in my opinion it should be the God of Death. The God of Death from hell. He kills pirates just like chopping vegetables and melons, one slash cuts out a large piece. Yes, I saw with my own eyes that the killer brother who had a bounty of 300 million was killed by him with 2 swipes. And more. I have never seen such a horrific scene in my life. It's not good. The Shinigami from hell are out to harvest, let's run. Fortunately, he didn't target us. Let's take advantage of this opportunity and run away quickly. The female warriors were all dancing and talking non-stop. The Snow Witch pursed her lips tightly, the expression on her face changing. Senior Kadri Zella opened her mouth, but in the end she said nothing. What's wrong? Oni-sama. And Zella, what's with the handcuffs on your hands? Without waiting for Zera to speak. Clear footsteps came from the cave corridor. Everyone's expressions changed. He quickly protected his captain behind him. Stand ready and enter an attack posture. Under the nervous gazes of the girls of the White Pearl group. A tall figure slowly appeared. All of a sudden, the girls' eyes were as wide as bells. The pretty faces showed uncontrollable expressions of extreme horror and fear. They already recognized him. The man in front of them was exactly what they saw on the island not long ago. Monster. Devil. Killing God. Hell Shinigami. The screams came one after another. Tia was stunned at first. It didn't take long for him to react. The person who knows what everyone is referring to. Everyone, don't be afraid. He is Roger, a partner, not an enemy. Tia stepped forward with her long legs and quickly waved her hands to explain. Roger, partner, not an enemy. All the girls in the White Pearl group were shocked. The shock in my heart could not be greater. In their opinion, the man who was as terrifying as the God of Death is actually a partner. Think carefully. They also met Roger, but Roger didn't attack them. He just focused on hunting down other pirates. At first they couldn't figure out why. Now, it can be explained. Think of this. The girls' hearts were relieved, and they all exhaled in unison. But the look he looked at Roger still held a trace of fear. Roger's calm gaze swept over the girls. Finally, it was fixed on Zella, which frightened the eldest girl so much that she couldn't help but tremble. Take a few people outside to process the ingredients. Roger ordered. Yes. Zella quickly stood at attention. I am coming too. I'm here to help too. When the girls found opportunities, they all filed out. I dare not be in the same space as Roger. In the end, only the 2 people who had been in the cave were left to take care of the captain, the Snow Witch. Ha. Brother Roger, what on earth have you done to scare those tough girls so much? Old Carl laughed heartily. It's nothing, I just killed a few pirates. Roger smiled and handed Old Carl a cup of hot tea. How many are there? I don't know, I can't count, maybe a few thousand. Less than 10,000. Roger thought. Puff. Old Carl just drank all the hot tea in his mouth and gushed out. Don't be so excited, Brother Carl, what you need most now is to rest. Roger smiled reassuringly. Roger, this ointment has completely melted. Tia brought a basin of dark, viscous liquid. Put it aside. Roger washed his hands. Start applying black ointment to Old Carl's body. Brother Roger, what is this? The ointment I prepared when I was bored is very effective in repairing broken bones. However, I can only suppress the chronic toxins in my brother for the time being. If I can get a sample, I can prepare an antidote. Roger said. Old Carl, what's wrong? Brother Roger, is there anything else you don't know? Old Carl said. Roger looked thoughtful. A long while, I haven't thought of it yet. Roger answered seriously. Old Carl, Snow Witch. 10 minutes later, Roger painted Old Carl's whole body into a little black man. There is still a little bit of ointment left. Roger brought it to the Snow Witch. Have to admit, the legendary Snow Witch is indeed extremely beautiful. He is obviously 40 years old. But whether it's appearance or skin, she looks more plump than an 18-year-old girl. This is real freezing age. There's still a little left, do you need it? Roger asked casually. I thought the other party would refuse. But I never thought about it. This eldest sister, like her father, was not polite to him at all. She stretched out her slender feet. There was a large swelling near the ankle. Apparently a broken bone. Oh, you are really not polite at all. Roger chuckled. I'm afraid this is the only chance to get treatment and care from the Impel Down warden. The Snow Witch spoke. The voice was cold, but it doesn't sound very pleasant either. Oh, are you ready to wake up? Roger raised an eyebrow. Well, but, I'm the only one, Esmeralda said seriously. Become. And don't worry, I will give special treatment to guests like you. Roger smiled and spoke. This is really exciting. The corners of the Snow Witch's mouth drew a slight arc. Stay tuned. Roger grabbed her cold, delicate feet and began to slowly apply the ointment. Stare. The resentful sight from behind made Roger speed up. Okay. After the initial treatment is completed, I will go outside to see if there are any fish that have slipped through the net, and pick some herbs by the way. Roger clapped his hands. Roger, you, without waiting for Tia to say anything. Brother Carl, I'll be looking after you next, Tia. After saying these words, Roger ran away in a hurry. 1 minute later, Roger came to the battlefield to save Tia. Then, let's start harvesting. Looking at the various attribute cards on the floor, the curve of Roger's mouth gradually widened. Congratulations on gaining strength +10, +10, +100. Strength reaches 102,020 LV5 Extreme Realm. Congratulations on getting speed +10, +10, +100. The speed reaches 101,021 LV5 Extreme Realm. Congratulations on getting defense +10, +10, +100. Defense reaches 105,005 LV5 Extreme Realm. Congratulations on getting the armed color. Congratulations on getting the insight. Congratulations on getting zone. Congratulations on getting the devil fruit development site. Congratulations on getting free attribute points. Congratulations on getting Kendo +10, +10, +100. Kendo reached 108,000 LV5 Kendo peak. Chapter 54 Total Annihilation. Shocked. Save Marine. Available at midnight tonight. Advertise here. Nani. What did you say? All the pirates on the island have been wiped out. How is this possible? The almost deafening roar of the flying demon David Berg exploded over the island. Hey, even if it's just a joke, it's gone too far. There are nearly 10,000 pirates there. Among them are experts like Iron Bull Garrett, Death Scythe Ego, and Killer Brothers. How is it possible to destroy them all? Who can do it? Could it be the Marine Admiral? The faces of the officials of the Flying Devil group were filled with absurdity and disbelief. But it's true. The island. A monster appeared on the island. No, it's Shinigami. It's the god of death. It's the devil. The pirate who witnessed the scene of hell through the lookout mirror seemed to be stunned, and his body couldn't stop shaking. The cadres of the Flying Devil group looked at each other. Still skeptical of his subordinates' reports. Boom. A wine bottle fell to the ground and exploded. That's not what I wanted to hear. Flying Devil David Berg spoke faintly. The old face had an expression more terrifying than that of a ghost. Who gave you the courage to make up such outrageous lies? I'm really sorry, Lord David, but... Boom. Gunfire fell. The sound stopped suddenly. This pirate has a hole in his head and is dead. David Berg, you are a complete idiot. A cold voice came from outside the palace. Dark Uranus Beckett walked in with the boy Rox and another subordinate. Beckett, I can't pretend I didn't hear this. Do you want to fight? David Berg narrowed his eyes. Pieces of wine bottles suddenly flew on the ground. Like bullets, they shot toward the three Becketts at the entrance of the hall. Untouched. The purple halo suddenly fell. All the speeding glass fragments fell to the ground and turned into powder. Almost all of your people are dead and you don't even know it. If you're not an idiot, who are you? Beckett teased. What did you say? David Berg glared. Your men were not talking nonsense before. Because of the appearance of an unexpected monster, now almost all the pirates on that island have been killed or injured. Beckett said. Wow. Shocking uproar broke out. The faces of the cadres of the Flying Devil group all had ghostly expressions on their faces. It's actually true. Who is it? Who can do all this in such a short period of time? Did the Marines and Admirals attack together? 3 Admirals. Haha, even 3 Admirals can't do it. I've already said it, it's an unexpected monster. Beckett sneered. Francis. He waved. Yes. The middle-aged man behind him took out a stack of information from his pocket and threw it out. Roger. Chester. It was a flash in the pan 5 years ago. Impel Down, the original warden. Age. 30 years old. Wow. The huge palace sounded an even more shocking uproar than before. Hey, Beckett, are you kidding me? He's just an Impel Down warden. David Berger. Joyed. 5 years ago, the biggest reason why Barbassa and Derek were arrested was because of him. According to my intelligence network and various signs, he is a great swordsman and the awakened one of Conqueror's Hockey. 5 years ago, we defeated Marine Admiral Cook head-on. Is this enough? Beckett said calmly. If that's not enough, here's more. He waved his hand. A large number of newly developed photos were scattered, recording the cruel hell on Snow Island. The main hall of the island fell into deathly silence. What should we do next? Can you and I work together to deal with that brat? David Berg said in a deep voice. No. Beckett shook his head. The enemy is immovable, we don't need to bother provoking him. Now let the island drop in height and increase the distance from the main island. We'll arrive at the agreed upon location in a few hours. I believe Redbeard will be very interested in him. The corners of Beckett's mouth curled up in a strange way. Then do as you say. David Berger is unusually free of naysayers. The hellish scene was covered with thick snow. Roger looked up, and the other floating sky islands that were clearly visible were submerged in the clouds one after another. Only the island where he was located continued to drop in altitude. However, there is no intention of being abandoned, and the island is still making steady progress. If you want to live in peace, it doesn't matter what you said. The account hasn't been settled yet. Roger whispered, his expression cold. After an hour, Roger completed the pickup of attribute cards across the island. Successfully broke through to level 5 in the 4 categories of strength, speed, defense and swordsmanship. Armed color, knowledge color, etc. have also been greatly improved. 1 battle is worth 3 years gain. The reason why? It is directly related to Roger's fishing from the lake. The prisoners in Impel Down were captive by Roger and were constantly producing wool. This is sustainable development. Now here is a one-size-fits-all approach, just grab it and leave. The corresponding attribute cards dropped will also be more luxurious, and there will be almost no whiteboard. Even the little pirates dropped purple cards. Feeling the extreme power of level 5, the curvature of the corners of Roger's mouth gradually widened. 1 minute later, he returned to the cave camp. The girls of the White Pearl group have prepared a barbecue feast. Roger is also welcome. Dengxi sat down next to Tia and began to feast. 4 days of traveling. He hardly ate anything. 2 hours later, full of wine and food, Roger clapped his hands and looked up at the sky. Tia, except for Brother Carl, are all the other Vice Admirals still alive? Roger asked. Yeah, we're still alive, we're all locked up on that prison island. Tia answered quickly. Then, let's liberate everyone now. Chapter 55 LV for Advanced Conquerors. Shocking. The Flying Devil is coming. Kneel down and beg for the first order. Advertise here. 5,000 meters in the air. Roger and the two walked on the moonwalk, landing quietly on Sky Prison Island. Whoosh. The bright sword light shines. The cell door mixed with seastone was cut off. Lewis Vice Admiral, Mountbatten Vice Admiral, everyone. Tia quickly stepped inside. Tia, Miss Tia, Goddess. Alas, the Marines who had been waiting for death in despair all had their eyes widened, their faces full of shock and disbelief. I never expected that in less than a day, Tia would come again. Do you think of this island as your home? Tia, why are you here again? Vice Admiral Mountbatten's eyes twitched. I'm not the only one this time. Don't worry, everyone will be saved. Tia spoke firmly. Not just you. Who else? All Marines were stunned. It's me. Roger stepped forward calmly. Who are you? Roger. Impel Down, the former warden. Lord Roger. In the large cage, the Marine generals were shocked and screamed. I thought that the reinforcements that Rear Admiral Tia mentioned must be the Admiral of the headquarters. I never thought it would be Roger. But they will not be disappointed by this. Because Marines all know it clearly. Impel Down's warden. No, the original warden Roger's strength is not inferior to Admiral's. As early as 5 years ago, he has already suppressed Admiral Cook head-on. Now 5 years later, we must be even stronger. This is a powerful reinforcement that is more reliable than Admiral. Only, the Marine generals present also knew that Roger was still guilty. Because of unfounded charges, he was imprisoned for hundreds of years by the world government. But now it's for them. Ooh, how touching this is. Warden Roger broke the rules of world government for us. If I go back this time and the world government takes advantage of this to launch an attack, I will never sit idly by and ignore it. Me too. And I. All the Marine generals were secretly moved. Roger was a little embarrassed to hear those heartfelt words. After all, he was mainly doing it for Tia and old Carl this time. Others are just passing by. Ta ta ta. Suddenly there was a sound of footsteps outside the cell. The Marine generals, who were immersed in emotion, were shocked. Quickly, their hanging hearts are about letting go. Because those who came were not pirate enemies, but the ordinary sailors who were imprisoned together. After Roger had explored it with his knowledge, he took the time to cut open the cage where ordinary sailors were imprisoned. For the weak sailors, the flying devil did not break their legs and feet. Now it is just in time to transport the generals. Mountbatten Vice Admiral, Lewis Vice Admiral, Ven Rear Admiral. Looking at the severely injured and miserable officers, the sailors all had red eyes. Regardless of their own weakness, groups of 2 or 3 helped the officers out of the dark cells. However, it is not only Tianguang who is waiting for them, but also the devil pirates who are all over the mountains and plains. Under the leadership of a core cadre of the Flying Devil, thousands of pirates surrounded the entire area, making it suffocating. It's just once, but you dare to rob the prison again and again. What do you think this place is? It's just a marine, don't get carried away. Those who want to live should go back to their cells now. The man who was the leader of the prison island, the Flying Devil cadre, shouted loudly. Compared to waiting to die in a cell, dying in battle is the best thing. Vice Admiral Mountbatten smiled freely. Ha ha ha, that's right, we are Marines, and we have been promised justice for a long time. A righteous Marine, never afraid of mere pirates. You bastard pirate, your grandpa Marine is here. If you have the ability, come and take my head. None of the other Vice Admirals, Rear Admirals or even ordinary sailors bowed their heads. Even if they knew it was death, they still had no hesitation. Tia, Roger, you don't need to be dragged down by us later, just kill the enemy on your own and take care of yourselves. Mountbatten waited for Vice Admiral to speak seriously. Please don't say such things, Roger and I will protect everyone. Tia spoke firmly. I came to save you, but I ended up getting you injured and killed. So what's the point of my coming here? Vice Admirals. Roger grinned. But, nothing but. Roger walked calmly. If you don't drink a toast, you'll have to drink as a penalty. Everyone is ready to shoot. The owner of Prison Island raised his right hand high. Didn't wait for it to fall. The next second. Wow. A ruthless wind suddenly appeared between heaven and earth. Centered around Roger. The invisible hockey rapidly expanded and spread, covering this talent. Level 4's high-level Conqueror's hockey, for the first time, exploded. In the way Tia and the Marines felt, they only felt a breeze blowing on their faces. The restless heart gradually calmed down under the comfort of this breath, and the whole body became clear. But for the pirates, at this moment, their minds were turned upside down. The mighty conquerors deprived them of all thoughts and consciousness in an instant. Snap, snap, it's like a domino effect. From near to far. Thousands of flying devil pirates turned their eyes white and fell to the ground in a coma. To the end, the only person left standing was the island owner, gone. In an instant. This. There is no mistake, this is the legendary Conquerors. The rumors are true. Roger has really awakened Conqueror's hockey. And this intensity, this control, it's absolutely extraordinary. The well-informed Vice Admirals were filled with emotion and admiration. The sailors who didn't know what was going on came to their senses one by one after listening to the discussions of their officers. Although I still have no idea about Conqueror's hockey. But in short, they know that this is a very advanced power zone. Roger-sama hockey, as expected of Mr. Roger. Accompanied by the excited cheers of the sailors. Roger's advanced Conqueror's hockey far from restrained. Please give me flowers. Instead, it expanded more and more, sweeping and surrounding the entire prison island. Then it spread further to the 9 heavens, overflowing the entire world. The deathly silent main island hall. The flying devil David Berg sat high on the throne with an unhappy look on his face. His face was as gloomy as if water was dripping from his face. It has been on the sea for many years. This was the first time he encountered such an aggrieved thing. Captain David. Suddenly, a cadre hurriedly entered the hall. Just now, there was a call from the direction of Prison Island. Intruders were discovered and are being eliminated now. Nani. Flying devil David Berg stood up suddenly. Don't wait for him to investigate further. The next second. Like the mighty conquerors descending. This breath is Conqueror's hockey. Darkness with closed eyes, Uranus Beckett suddenly opened his eyes. You bastard, are you planning to openly challenge me, the 6th king? It's just a small Impel Down warden. Whose territory does this belong to? Flying devil David Berg was furious. The veins on his forehead swelled and pulsed with anger. Beckett, I can't bear it anymore. I will definitely give that arrogant brat a head-on blow. Dark Uranus Beckett looked at the countdown on his watch. If we really let that man rescue all the Marines, it will be difficult for Redbeard to explain, so be it. Dark Uranus Beckett looked at the suit attendant beside him. Francis, go and help David. Yes, Lord Beckett. Mr. Beckett, I want to help too. Rox, a 10-year-old boy with red hair, said hopefully. No, you are far from mature. In another 10 years, you will be like Francis and become my right-hand man. Bah ho 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 ho. With a maniacal laugh, the flying devil David Berg soared into the sky. Francis, the silent man in a suit, stood on a platform. Lilac halo shines. The platform overcomes the effect of gravity. Rising rapidly towards the sky. Boohoo, Francis, my lion fruit ability, coupled with your multiple fruit abilities, is a perfect match. If you and I join forces, we will be invincible. Do you want to consider coming to my side? Flying devil David Berg laughs at the invitation. If you come here, the position of deputy captain must be yours. How about it? No, it's better. It was Lord Beckett who made me what I am today. I will only be loyal to Lord Beckett in my whole life. Francis, the person with Paramesh's multiple fruit abilities, calmly but firmly refused. Hoo ho ho ho, this is such a pity. Don't worry about it, let's work together to deal with that arrogant brat first. David Berger stopped in moderation and did not further intensify the conflicts. 1 minute later, David Berger and Francis visit Sky Prison Island. Boom. The land on the island suddenly shook violently. No nonsense. Flying devil David Berg starts with a big greeting. One after another, lifelike devil heads rise from the ground. He opened his mouth and roared, sweeping towards Roger with boundless power. Go to hell. The Devil's Feast. Inch. Chapter 56 Piao Piao plus Heavy. Golden Lion plus Smile. Please order first on 2/10. Advertise here. Too strong. Destroying thousands of pirates in an instant is really powerful. This is the true strength of Shiro Yasha, who is Impel Down. I don't know what Conqueror's Hockey is, but it must be awesome. Mr. Roger is mighty. The excited cheers of the sailors echoed under the sky. Originally, they were all ready to fight to the death. I never imagined that reality would be so magical. Roger instantly killed everyone on the other side with one look. What a shocking picture this is. This scene, even if decades have passed, the sailors will never forget it. Not to mention ordinary sailors. Even Marine elites such as Mountbatten and Lewis Vice Admiral. At this moment, everyone was dumbfounded and shocked to the point of being speechless for a long time. Now, they finally knew about Old Carl, Marshal Orlando, and even the 3 admirals. Why do these senior executives at the top of Marine admire Roger so highly? Because he does have this strength. Don't accept it. Something's coming. After listening to the 610 office, and everyone's praise for Roger, Tia's expression suddenly changed. Observation Hockey captured the 2 undisguised terrifying auras coming from far and near. David Berg, and that man next to Bastard Beckett. The expressions of the Vice Admirals also changed slightly. Bah ho 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 ho. Flying devil David Berg dived and flew close to the ground. The palm of the hand was in close contact with the earth, and then suddenly rose. Rumble, rumble, the island was shaken violently. The earth touched by David Berg. At this moment, it was like becoming an extension of his body, like an arm moving his fingers. Ho 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 ho, an earth-shattering roar exploded. Several ferocious devil heads rose from the ground. With endless smoke and dust and a terrifying tsunami on the earth. Falling towards Roger. Go to hell, arrogant brat, this is the Devil's Feast. David Berg shouted angrily. The open 5 fingers slowly closed together. The earth controlled by him suddenly rotated and compressed. The terrifying squeezing force can easily crush even steel. However, caca, an inconspicuous clicking sound suddenly sounded. It was very slight, but it caused the expression of flying devil David Berg to change suddenly. Because he found that the land was no longer under his control. A tiny gleam of light shimmered from the cracks in the rotating mountain. More dazzling than the sun. Boom. Amidst the loud noise. David Berg uses the ability of lion fruit to control the formation of the mountain to explode. Countless mountain stone fragments scattered in all directions, and then turned into fine dust under the ensuing invisible vibration force. Strong winds blew away the smoke. Roger's figure was then revealed. Unscathed. Even Kakuzu's clothes were never messy. The eyelids of flying devil David Berg suddenly twitched. Roger's eyes were fixed on David Berg indifferently. Is that your strongest move just now? If this is the case, the so-called 6 kings are too disappointing. Roger shook his head in disappointment. In words and deeds, he is extremely arrogant. Just a simple confrontation. Enough for Roger to make a judgment. This year's lion fruit users are too weak. In his prime, he is comparable to an old golden lion with a rudder on his head. Bastard brat. Listen to Roger's natural arrogance and contempt. Flying devil David Berg's face turned completely cold. As one of the 6 kings of this sea, no one has ever dared to underestimate him so much. Even Marine's admiral must be on full alert when facing him. But now, how dare a brat in his eyes do this? It's really unforgivable. Don't get carried away. David Berger shouted. Raise your hand. Countless tiny gravels flew into the air. Take the move. Gun bullet sugar. The flying devil waved his hands repeatedly. Countless gravel shot towards Roger with enough power to penetrate gold and stone. Roger never dodges or avoids, ignoring the rain of bullets that filled the sky. Just move forward at your own pace. Better than taking a leisurely stroll. He didn't drive iron body. There is no entangled weapon color. Let David Berg's gravel bullets fall on him. A cloud of flying dust exploded. But it couldn't cause any harm to him. Not even a trace can be left behind. This is Roger's physical strength today. The defense points exceeded 100,000, reaching the defense power after IV-5 extreme level. Not to mention the fragile gravel bullets. Even the armor-piercing bullets from the anti-materiel sniper rifle couldn't shake Roger in the slightest. Damn, 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 damn. Why doesn't it work? Flying Devil David Berg yelled angrily. In the past when facing other opponents. His move can easily defeat a pirate ship or even a warship. However, in front of Roger, it was like a 3-year-old child throwing a stone, without any lethality. This result and discovery was completely unacceptable to him, who was so proud. Is it really what Beckett said? Is this kid a monster beyond imagination? Briefly dazed, Roger walked up to David Berg. His right hand fell on the handle of the knife. One sword style. Aye. Among the sword skills he possesses, he has the fastest sword swing. The long sword was instantly unsheathed. The speed of drawing the knife is so fast that it is invisible to the naked eye. However, in the process of swinging the knife, Roger's speed seemed to be slowed down dozens of times. It's not Roger's fault. It's the space he's in. The atmosphere suddenly became thicker and thicker. What was also aggravated dozens of times was his knife and body. It was this moment of interference. Flying Devil David Berg reacted. Stimulated by the shadow of death, Jenin couldn't help but scream and retreat violently. Escaped from Roger's knife in a narrow way. Who? Roger's eyes narrowed slightly. His eyes were fixed on the man in a suit who arrived in midair with the Flying Devil. Be careful, Roger, that man is a general under the command of Dark Uranus, a user with Paramesha multiple fruit abilities, who can freely control gravity. Tia quickly reminded and informed the local intelligence. Roger nodded understandingly. In fact, no need for Tia to remind you. Roger himself had already guessed it. The flying platform where he started out as just a guy in a suit was maintained by David Berg. But after feeling the sudden increase in gravity, Roger knew that the platform's floating ability was exactly what the man in the suit was capable of. Not just the Paramesha Lion fruit ability. Now even Paramesha's multiple fruit abilities appear. But how do the people with multiple fruit abilities of this era compare to the blind swordsmen of later generations? Piao Piao plus heavy. Golden Lion plus smile. There was a rare fighting spirit in Roger's eyes. Come on, you two, come together and let me have more fun. Roger Hockey's grin. Wow, I'm really angry. The fear and anger in the heart of flying demon David Berg erupted like a volcano. On the other hand, Francis, the man in the suit, is much calmer. He silently rolled up his suit sleeves. Cross your arms. The flowing armament Hockey winds up, releasing a powerful sense of force. Immediately afterwards, the rich purple light of gravity further lingered over his fist. The power of his fists further increased dramatically. Every gesture, the atmosphere and even space are like ripples swaying in circles. It is completely opposite to the development direction of the blind swordsman in later generations. Fujitora smiles by combining his knowledge and abilities with many abilities to pull down meteorites. This is a very high demand for knowledge and sex. Francis, the man in the suit, couldn't do it. What he's better at is armament Hockey. Years of practice. He has mastered the advanced weapon colors of flow, external release and internal destruction. And when combined with its own fruitful abilities, what is produced is a gravity-armed punch capable of destroying everything. In close combat, no one can match him. Be aware of this. The fighting spirit in Roger's eyes became even higher. Bring it on. This time, he paid no attention to David Berger. He just regarded Francis, the man in a suit, as his only opponent. The man in the suit also lived up to Roger's expectations. Bend your knees slightly. Boom. The platform beneath him exploded. His figure suddenly disappeared. The next time he appeared was in front of Roger. Gravity. Punch. Chapter 57. Kill the island with one sword. The sky and the earth are eclipsed. Open black lens bracket. Please subscribe on 3/10 close black lens bracket. Advertise here. Gravity punch. Unpretentious move naming. Its power is anything but ordinary. The fist has not yet arrived. The atmosphere twists and deforms first. Next is the land of Prison Island. It exploded under the pressure of invisible gravity. However, facing the terrifying gravity punch of the man in the suit, Roger, on the other hand, refused to dodge. There was no counterattack. Not even defensive. He just allowed the iron fist of the man in the suit to attack him. Lord Roger. What is Mr. Roger planning to do? Does he really want to use his body to resist the thug's fist? You're kidding. The Marines watching the battle not far away all widened their eyes in shock. His fists were clenched tightly, and his palms were sweating unconsciously for Roger. In a moment, but momentarily, The man in the suit's punch, which had a high-grade weapon color and 50 times the gravity, fell suddenly. Under people's shocked and puzzled gazes, he hit Roger's chest firmly. A crashing sound that was duller than the bells of the god realm rang out. Ripples appeared in the void. Kaka. The atmosphere rippled violently under the power of the ultimate. The sky prison island and the earth were trembling at this moment. Boom. A huge ravine ran across the east and west and divided the island into two. The deafening sound caused everyone in the venue to cover their ears. The endless flying dust makes everything invisible. Bah ho 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 ho, you really deserve it. You arrogant brat. It's really stupid to use your own body to resist. After a brief moment of astonishment, David Berg, the flying devil, couldn't help but laugh happily. Wow. The wind howled. A strange movement occurred in the center of the battlefield that had been silent for 3 breaths. A terrible storm stirred up flying dust. The scene inside was revealed. The heavy punch of the man in the gravity suit definitely hit Roger's chest, leaving a faint fist mark on his body. The attack worked. But there was no trace of joy on the face of Francis, the man in the suit. The face that had always been dull and paralyzed now showed a wonderful expression change. It was extremely shocking and unbelievable. Facing his own full blow, Roger didn't move from beginning to end. He really used his body to withstand this blow that was enough to break the mountain. Not only did he endure it, but he didn't even take a step back. In the end, all that was caused were these wounds that were not painful or itchy. What a terrifying physical strength this is. Simply a monster among monsters. Monster. Monster. David Berg, the flying demon, screamed. The pride on his face was no longer there. Instead there was only shock and horror. It's just that his bullets are ineffective. Even Francis's gravity punch is so powerless now. It's just like fake. This punch was good, even I felt a little pain. Roger nodded in approval and immediately changed the topic. It's my turn next. The words fell. Roger punched. Francis, the man in a suit, changed his expression suddenly. He quickly crossed his arms to block. Boom. The fist like a missile hit the man in the suit's crossed arms. Tear. The elegant suit he was wearing was torn into countless pieces in an instant. As for the pants, they didn't crack because they were the same style as Hulk's. Kaka. There was an overwhelmed clicking sound from the armed arms of Francis, the man in the suit. The muscles on the arm gradually twisted, and fine cracks appeared on the bones inside. A moment of stalemate. Boom. The man in the suit was ejected and flew backwards like a cannonball. It smashed all the way through the barren hill, and finally embedded itself deeply into the rock wall 100 meters away. Oh. The sailors outside the field burst into excited cheers. Holy shit. It's amazing. How powerful is Mr. Roger? That gravity man is a strong man who can rival Cook Admiral. But he was punched away by Warden Roger. Sure enough, Mr. Roger's strength is truly admirable, no, even a gift from heaven. Listening to the cheers of the sailors, Flying Devil David Berg had veins on his forehead twitching wildly. If he had received Roger's punch head on before, I was afraid that I would die on the spot. The kid in front of him was far more powerful than he imagined. Even stronger than Dark Uranus Beckett expected. Flying Devil David Berg's eyes twinkled. After a while, he makes a decision. Hey, Francis, you shouldn't collapse like this. If the man in the suit was defeated like this, then he turned around and ran away without hesitation. Mobility with lion fruit abilities. He wants to leave, but few people in this world can stop him. Unfortunately, the sound of rolling stones came from the rock wall 100 meters away. Francis, the man in a suit, staggered out. Between waving hands. All the bones in the body were crackling. The muscles all over the body are bulging like a horned dragon. Life. Liberation. He activated his own special technique. Freed up his full strength. That's what makes it more interesting. Roger grinned. Long legs move. Take the initiative. The other side. The man in the suit, who was completely liberated, also attacked violently. The soles of the feet leave deep marks one after another on the earth. In an instant, 2 humanoid Tyrannosaurus tanks came into contact. Oiler. T. A close quarters fighting battle begins. The peak collision of strength and power. The sailors who were watching could not help but burst into tears. This can definitely be regarded as a close combat with the highest rules in the world. Just the aftermath of the power is enough to flatten the earth and make the mountains explode. Damn Francis, I wish he had fallen like this before. Why do you have to stand up? Flying Devil David Berg cursed lowly and had no choice but to rejoin the battle. Paramesha Lion Fruit ability activates. The land of Prison Island deformed under his control. Heading towards the battlefield between Roger and the man in the suit. However, he didn't wait until he came closer. The Devil Earth Tsunami will be defeated by the aftermath of the battle between the two. In this peak power showdown, as one of the 6 kings, he actually became a soy sauce character. Not even qualified to participate. Think of this. Flying Devil David Berg couldn't help but feel furious. Angrily, huge rocks weighing hundreds of kilograms floated up. He threw it towards Roger and the man in the suit without distinction. However, it still has no use. His attacks were like drizzle. David Berg, your opponent is me, and I won't let you bother Roger anymore. There was a scolding sound, and Tia, who was watching with itchy hands, stepped on the moonwalk and soared into the sky. Decided to be of the same mind as Mr. and Mrs. Roger. With her strength, she will fight against the Six Kings. You may not win, but it's not difficult to drag it on for a while. However, Tia had just gone to heaven and had done nothing. Wow. Flying Devil David Berg seemed to be greatly stimulated. How much do you want to underestimate me? No matter what, I don't care about anything. You are all going to die today. Leave these harsh words behind. Under Tia's incomprehensible gaze, the flying demon David Berg suddenly soared into the sky. It disappeared into the clouds. At the same time, the altitude of Sky Prison Island suddenly dropped rapidly. The altitude of Snow Island, which was originally close to the sea, has risen again. Soon we crossed the Prison Island. And it is still rising. Finally, it stopped 1,000 meters above Prison Island. The huge shadow shrouded the entire Prison Island. Francis. The shouts of Flying Devil David Berg filled the sky. Francis, the man in the suit, understood. The blood-stained body suddenly jumped up. Caught by a flying platform. Take it to the sky. It landed on the land of Snow Island. The dark purple gravity halo spread to the entire island. The island that was floating in the air under the power of Piao Piao suddenly froze. Bah ho, lousy is the Flying Devil Berg. This is the price for underestimating me. Go to hell. Be shattered to pieces by my 577's island bomb. David Berg laughed crazily and waved his hands down. He released the floating control of the island. At the same time, Francis, the man in the suit, has added many fruit abilities of his own to the island. The gravity on the island is x10. Boom. Rumble. The floating Snow Island crashed towards the Prison Island under the pull of 10 times the gravity. That was a terrifying shadow that could level everything on Prison Island. Roger. Tia looked at Roger in panic. Do not worry. Roger's expression remained calm. Kang. He pulled out the knife from his waist. Bah ho, even now, I'm still pretending. I want to see how you plan to block it. David Berg, the Flying Devil, glared angrily. Block. Don't get me wrong. Chi Yu bent his knees slightly. In the roar, a huge ravine opened in the ground of Prison Island. Through that terrifying reaction force, Chi Yu's figure suddenly rose into the sky. There is no comparison in size between a person and an island. But looking at Roger rising into the sky, be it Tia or Mountbatten and other Marines, there was no reason to have great confidence in my heart. Even if the sky falls, that man can handle it too. For people's expectations, Roger will not let him down. 100,000 extreme speed, 100,000 extreme power, and the ultimate swordsman power at the pinnacle of 100,000 swordsmanship. Triggered at this moment, the blade of the long sword in his hand suddenly rose hundreds of meters in the wind, under the influence of the ultimate sword intent. In addition, armament Haki, who is close to the extreme state, is added. Even more blessed is the entanglement of the conqueror's soul. Finally, add the strongest paramesha of IV4 that destroys the world, shock fruit ability. Anything that stands in front of me will be cut in two. Chi Yu spoke calmly. The right hand swings from bottom to top. One knife. Come. Heaven and earth are eclipsed. Chapter 58 shocked the whole audience. Death to the Flying Devil. Open black lens bracket 4/10. Please subscribe close black lens bracket. Advertise here. Like a meteorite hitting the earth. Under the power of Francis, the man in the suit, the entire huge Snow Island seemed to have turned into a large meteorite. Once it falls, it will be shocking. Meteorite. Snow Island. That bastard David Berg. Everyone, grab everything you can, the impact is coming. Everyone in the White Pearl group quickly made preparations. Old Carl, who was covered in black plaster, was shocked. Like a butterfly emerging from a cocoon, he sat up in a dying illness and began to save himself. Main Island. Mr. Beckett, the islands are crashing together. Rox, a 10-year-old boy, shouted excitedly. Regarding the destruction of things, young Rox showed unusual excitement. That idiot David Berg finally got to this point. Francis agrees. Does that mean that man's strength is beyond my imagination? Dark Uranus Beckett frowned in thought. But forget it, after this blow, everything will end. Even that monster will never be able to withstand it. Prison Island. Roger. Mr. Roger. Lord Roger. Warden Roger. Accompanied by Dia and the Marines, hopeful shouts. Roger unleashed the long-awaited final blow. One knife out. Heaven and earth are eclipsed. The machete, stretching hundreds of meters, flew towards the falling island. What was cut out was a huge sword energy several thousand meters long. Coming from Snow Island with invincible power. Just pass by. This moment, time and space seemed to be frozen. The next second, the island that was dropped by the Flying Devil David Berg and the Gravity Man in the suit lit up with a bright line across the north and south. Boom. Center the line. The island, which stretches thousands of meters across the sky, is split into two. The middle cut is as smooth as a mirror. It's like tofu that has been cut with a knife. Ah, shouted Flying Demon David Berg. Finally, I couldn't laugh as much as usual. He didn't wait to express his thoughts on the shocking scene he witnessed. The next second, more and more terrifying things happen. The second kind of power contained in this sword energy. The ultimate earth-shattering earthquake force explodes in full force. The snow island that Roger had cut into 2 pieces further collapsed and decomposed in the pure white vibrating light. It turned into countless large and small fragments, scattered in all directions. Heaven and earth lost their voice. Only the sound of falling stones like rain echoed. In the sky, flying devil David Berg had a dull expression on his face. Looking at the disappeared island, his heart seemed to be filled with turbulent waves one after another. I am X-Knee X-Horse. Hey, this is really an exaggeration. Just cut off the island. Why is it still broken? Is this what a mere slash can do? Why does this guy's slash have such a big explosion effect? Fear. It's really scary. This guy is more than a monster. He looks just like the man from 40 years ago. It's not just flying devil David Berg who makes this association. For Roger's feat of destroying the island with one sword, the one who felt the most deeply was the veteran Marine legend Vice Admiral Carl. This is Grant. No, how is that possible? That old boy Grant is still alive and well. Old Carl pulled a fragment of the island and shook his head in disbelief. The other side, the beautiful face of Snow Witch Esmeralda is full of complexity. Even though he has never met his father. But for that man's means and abilities. But she knew it all too well. The years he spent becoming a pirate. From old newspapers and from the mouths of old people from the past era. More than once, she saw and heard other people's descriptions of that man's abilities. Can't you see me anymore? The Snow Witch whispered with a lonely face. Elder sister. The panicked shouts from his companions woke him up from his recollection. Logia snow fruit quickly activated. Derived from a pair of wind and snow wings. Protect all your friends. Floating the island. What a joke. The leaders of the Flying Devil group and other pirates who stayed on the island screamed in shock and disbelief one after another. Everyone who witnessed this scene had extreme horror and disbelief on their faces. They couldn't believe their eyes. Even the dark Uranus Beckett, who plays the role of the Six Kings, is no exception. I thought that would be the killer. Never thought about it. In this world, someone can actually smash an island to pieces. Especially that person, who is still only 30 years old. How terrifying this is, if he is allowed to continue to grow. The strongest man in history may be born. Francis, come back quickly, that's not someone you can deal with. Darkness Uranus Beckett makes an emergency call to his men via a telephone bug. However, there was no response. As early as the head-on collision with Roger's fist. The body of Francis, the man in the suit, was covered in bruises. Muscles all over the body were torn. The bones in the body were broken into countless pieces. Finally, by adding 10 times the gravity to the island, he has reached the point where he has run out of gas. You can't even see the shocking scene of Roger defeating the island meteorite, but he fell into a coma due to serious injuries. Francis is down. It's time for me to run too. The thought crossed the mind of Flying Devil David Berg. The only thought left in his mind, which was spinning like an ocean, was escape. Joke. In front of a monster that can shatter the island with one strike. The strength he relies on is not worth mentioning at all. Keep fighting. Just die in vain. For his own life. David Berg has always cherished it the most. To this end. He can sacrifice everything he has. Like now, while turning around to run away. David Berger had an idea. Prison Island's altitude dropped rapidly. At the same time, it began to border the main island. According to common sense, instead of chasing him who fled into the sky. Most people will definitely attack the enemies on the ground first. David Berger's move was precisely to allow the island's subordinates and the dark Uranus Beckett to buy him time to escape safely. However, that's what David Berg didn't expect. Today's opponent is very different from any before. For Roger, the people on the ground can be left to be sorted out later. It is his style to catch the fastest runner first. In addition, Roger's absolute strength is not only reflected on land. Do you think everything will be fine if you fly high enough? That couldn't be more wrong. 3 minutes later. Bah, Flying Devil David Berg was panting and his physical strength was greatly exhausted. But there was a winning smile on that ugly old face. He made a successful escape. By now, that guy Beckett should have started a war with that monster. You deserve it. It's time to use up your hidden power. David Berg smiled sinisterly. There is absolutely no mutual relationship and help among allies. Suddenly, David Berg is an inspiration. The threat of death is always there. Unprecedented clarity. It was hanging above his head. David Berg's eyes widened in anger. Suddenly he looked up. The figure that had left an indelible memory of terror in his mind grinned at him. A palm, falling from the sky, covering the whole world. Ah, David Berg, the flying demon, screamed out in uncontrollable fear. Tisk. His fine clothes were torn into countless pieces by the fierce wind. He desperately used all his strength to activate Lion Fruit's ability. The clouds in the sky condensed under his wave. However, it is impossible to reach the palm finger, which is like the power of heaven. The power that was like the palm of a god completely exploded. Wind pressure and shock waves came together. The weight of terror continued to pile on his body. This caused all the muscles in his body and even the bones in his body to scream in overwhelming distress. Boom! Accompanied by a loud bang. Flying Devil David Berg finally could no longer resist the heavy pressure. Under the unparalleled wind pressure, the body fell heavily back to the floating island, splashing endless dust. Rumble. The entire island was shaken at this moment. Countless cracks, large and small, crisscrossing each other emerged. I don't know how much time has passed. The island that was on the verge of collapse stopped shaking. The smoke and dust in the sky dispersed in the roar of the wind. A 5-finger palm print with a radius of 100 meters appeared on the ground beside the lake. It is dozens of times larger than the giant's hand. It's like the palm of a god. In the palm of your hand. Flying Devil David Berg is like a puddle of mud. The body was torn apart. Those who are already dead cannot die again. With the death of David Berg, the lion fruit user, the remaining floating sky island has lost its ability to float. The consequences can be imagined. Yeah, on the prison island, Rear Admiral Tia seemed to have thought of something and screamed in panic. The island that was shattered by Roger, Mr. Carl and Miss Witch are still there. Ahem. A cough sounded from the rockfall area not far away. Xiaoya, as I say, don't worry. Old Carl waved hello. We're fine too. Everyone in the White Pearl group, who finally survived under the protection of the Snow Witch, looked frightened. Very good. DIA's anxious heart dropped to Liang. Sudden. Prison Island shuddered. Then, under the pull of gravity, it accelerated towards the sea and fell. I wipe. Lie. Chapter 59 The New World is the strongest. Total War. Open black lens bracket. Please subscribe on 5/10 close black lens bracket. Advertise here. New World. Sycan Island. This is an uninhabited island in the neutral zone of the New World. Here today, a world-class deal is about to take place. Transaction parties. 6 Kings, Eric the Redbeard, and Naval Headquarters, Marshal Shinso Orlando. 10 o'clock in the morning. 3 warships led by Marine Marshal Orlando were anchored on the west blue shore of the island. A quarter of an hour later, a size comparable to that of a warship, a large 3-masted sailing ship appeared with a flaming beard and skull flag hanging from the top of its mast. That is the strongest in the New World, the Red Devil of the Redbeard Pirates. Ha 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 ha, I didn't expect the Marshal of Naval Headquarters to trade with me personally. What an honor. On the bow of the Red Devil, a man with a red beard and braids laughed. Of course we should pay more attention to meeting a big evil party like you. Marshal Orlando spoke calmly. Thank you very much for your respect. It's just that if you don't guard the headquarters, Marshal, it would be bad if the empty naval headquarters is attacked and fell by surprise. Eric the Red Devil spread his hands. If you can do it, just go ahead and try it. I didn't build naval headquarters by myself. Marshal Orlando put his hands behind his back confidently. Ha 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 ha, let's talk about naval headquarters later. Red Devil Eric's eyes flickered slightly. Wait until they take down Marshal Marine. Rescue Derek and others. 650. Finally, he reunites with the Flying Devil and Dark Uranus. By then, you can try to parachute directly to naval headquarters, or even the Holy Land Mariajoy. Certainly, both the headquarters and the Holy Land are just cover and secondary. Their real purpose is to keep Marine and the government busy. Thinking that their goal is no longer the island. Until then, use the Flying Devil's mobility. They can work together to take down the island of gods where the ultimate is hidden. The plan was perfect. Everything just needs to be executed. Eric the Red Devil took a deep breath and suppressed the expectations in his heart. Marshal Marine, you should have brought my brother, he should be fine. So, what about Marine, who was captured by you? Marshal Orlando asked rhetorically. Ha 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 ha, don't worry, they are already on the way and will arrive soon. Redbeard Eric said. Then don't worry, your brother is fine too, right here. Orlando said. Then let me see it first. Let's wait until your hostages arrive and meet together. It doesn't matter what you said, Marshal Marine. Since it's a transaction, we should be on equal footing. That makes sense. Eric the Redbeard nodded. As long as my brother is here, it will be no problem. By the way, Marshal Marine, there should be mirrors on your warships. Marshal Orlando narrowed his eyes slightly. Observation hockey radiates. A large mirror standing on the deck of the Red Devil pirate ship was captured. There seems to be a world behind that mirror. Oh, no need to answer. It seems there are indeed a lot of mirrors. The corners of Jongbeard Eric's mouth raised a hint of success. The next second, the large mirror on the deck suddenly rippled like water waves. Half of the person is stuck between the mirrors, connecting the mirror world and the real world. Brother, a haggard man wearing Impel Down prison uniform stepped out of the mirror. My brother, Derek, it's better than anything else that you can come back safely. Eric the Red Devil strode forward happily. He gave his brother a big hug. Big brother. Derek's face was distorted, with tears of humiliation hanging from the corners of his eyes. During the past 5 years, his local area has been devastated countless times. Arrived now, it is completely broken, even if it can be cured. This humiliation will never be forgotten in my lifetime. My brother, there is no need to say anything now. I will make those Marines pay back 100 times or 1,000 times for the suffering you have suffered. Eric the Red Devil said murderously. No, not just Marine, but also the abominable culprit, the Impel Down Shirayasha. Only that guy can never be forgiven. I want him to experience the same pain and humiliation as me. Derek, the Scarlet Beast King, gritted his teeth. The body was shaking uncontrollably, CDCI, because of anger and desire. It's all up to you. No matter it's white yaksha or black yaksha, neither one can escape. The affectionate drama between the brothers lasted for several moments. Wave-like textures once again appear on the surface of the large mirror. Ha 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 ha, Eric the Redbeard, Barbassa, will remember this favor. Barbassa, Lord of the Undead, walked out of the mirror world laughing. Then came the third and fourth. The hostages used for this exchange appeared one after another on Redbeard's ship from far away overseas. Marshal Orlando's face darkened. Look at the prisoners being rescued. He knew he had made a mistake. There were no prisoners on board the 3 warships that landed on the island. Derek and others were all waiting on 2 warships about 10 nautical miles away from the island. Admiral Cook, who is recovering from serious injury, is in charge of guarding. However, an unexpected person with mysterious abilities appears in the opponent's camp. Through current situation analysis, Orlando can probably guess. The Red Beard gang must have sneaked directly into the warship through the mirror world. The prisoners were brought into the mirror world without anyone noticing. If it is a large-scale frontal attack, with Cook here, the opponent will not succeed so easily no matter what. The facts were just as Marshal Orlando expected. For attacks from inside the warship. Even Admiral Cook couldn't predict it. The opponent seized the opportunity. Wait for him to stabilize the situation and plan to counterattack. A powerful enemy appears suddenly. In the Six Kings corner, the Butcher Pirates, led by Sea Butcher Black Sam himself, launched a massive attack. Ha 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 ha, what a pity. Marshal Marine, the hostages you used for trading have been liberated by me first. Now, it seems you have no leverage to negotiate with us. Eric the Red Beard laughed proudly. This kind of thing is not necessarily possible. Orlando responded calmly. It is true that he made a miscalculation and was robbed by the Red Beard gang. But what about their side? A real show. Now is just the beginning. Even now, you still dare to speak harshly. Red-bearded Eric's expression suddenly turned cold. In this case, today's trading operation will be converted into a Marine Marshal capture operation. Next, let's use Marshal Marine to trade with the world government. Eric the Red Devil grinned. Oh. All the pirates in the Red Beard group shouted in unison, their morale high. Following Red Beard's order, the pirates came out in full force. Start an all-out war with the Marine forces led by Marshal Orlando. 10 minutes later, a semi-broken warship fought side by side with a pirate ship and landed on Second Island. Also landing were 2 legendary creatures. The magical beast Griffin that dominates the sky and land. The North Blue Monster, the devil that dominates the far North Sea. Marine and pirate. The war has begun in full force. Another quarter of an hour. Several islands floated rapidly from the distant horizon. Chapter 60 Logia Lava Fruit. Fish Fantasy Beast North Blue Giant Monster. Open black lens bracket 6/10 please subscribe close black lens bracket. Advertise here. New World, Sycan Island. A bloody and brutal war begins. The screams became the only melody of the island. You can see blood spraying everywhere, and the flash of swords and shadows. Every moment, Marines and pirates keep falling down. Blood dyed the Golden Beach red. In terms of number of people, Marine has a certain advantage. But what they faced this time was the best super pirate group in the sea. Eric the Red's Redbeard Pirates and Butcher Black Sam's Butcher Pirates. No matter which one is the top existence in the sea. Plus Barbassa, Lord of the Undead, Derek, the Scarlet Beast King, and other ferocious pirates from the original Eternal Hell. Marine, who had the numerical advantage, was at a disadvantage from the beginning of the war. Thanks to the support of Marshals Orlando and Admiral Cook, the army was not completely defeated. Ha, it's almost time to give up. Marshal Marine. Eric the Red Devil laughed wantonly. Black and red liquid flows all over the body. He was like a walking disaster. Wherever you go. Mountains and forests burn. The earth was scorched black. Endless black-red magma surged out of his body. Devour everything mercilessly and burn all things. This is what Eric the Red is capable of. Like the later Admiral of Headquarters Akainu. He is the strongest Logia Lava Fruit user of this era. In front of my magma, any effort is in vain. Even you, the Marine Marshal, will be burned to death. A confident and wild smile appeared on the corner of Eric the Red Devil's mouth. Yeah, I've really been underestimated. Marine Marshal Orlando shook his head. Xylulu. Deck of a warship on the shore. A white horse galloped and jumped into the air from the bow of the ship. Then he transformed in midair. 2 white wings stretched out from its back. As the wings fluttered, the wind blew violently along the coast. The white horse that had eaten the bird fruit walked through the air and landed next to Marshal Orlando. Old man, it's been almost 20 years, let's have a big fight after a long time. Marshal Orlando grinned and mounted his horse. Kang. A special knight's spear appeared in the hands of Marshal Orlando, and the tip of the spear was pointed directly at the Red Devil Eric. In that distant past, the young Marshal Orlando was once the chief captain of the knights of a certain country in the Grand Line. Later, he got acquainted with the old Carl, who was also young. Orlando resigned as Knight Master and joined Marine. However, both his behavior and fighting style all followed the style of chivalry. The weapon is also always chosen as the Special Knight's lance. And over the past few decades, with this, he won the title of Shinso. Also, the white horse underneath him is also one of his characteristics. During the reign of Admiral, he rides the white horse Admiral across the sea. Certainly, so many years have passed. The white horse that originally followed him has long been buried. The current white horse is the grandson of the original one. Hakuba with Shinso. This is Martial Marine of this era. HMPH, what Hakuba Admiral? What Shinso Orlando? In front of my magma, it's all rubbish. Red Devil Eric smiled ferociously. A black and red wave of magma surged up behind him. He pressed down on the white horse Marshal Orlando. Xylulu. The white Pegasus neighed. Even though he is old, he is still agile. Spread your wings. The white Pegasus took Marshal Orlando into the sky. It passed dangerously along the edge of the magma. Whoosh. The silver white knight's spear pierced the atmosphere. Wisps of powerful black-armed air flow along the sound of gunshots. In the end, the entire knight's spear was rendered as black as ink. The spear thrust out. There is still a long way to go with Eric the Red Devil. The chi from the tip of the gun had already penetrated Eric's body, causing a big hole to explode in his bear's chest. Bright golden laser light shot out from the eyes of the Griffin, the overlord of the sky and land. This is the special ability of the Phantom Griffin, Laser Eyes. The laser beam of the shining fruit that is not inferior to the yellow monkey in later generations shoots out. It penetrated the huge sea monster tentacle that was smashed down like a pillar of heaven, and then further chopped it off. But then a second shadow followed. This is the battlefield between Admiral Cook and Black Sam the Butcher of the Sea. This is also the battlefield between Phantom Beasts and Phantom Beasts. Admiral Cook's ability is the magical beast griffin that dominates the sky and land. Sea Butcher Black Sam's ability is a legendary creature that dominates the ocean. Zone Fish Fruit Phantom Beast Species, North Blue Giant Monster Form. According to legend, the North Blue Giant Monster sleeps in the unfathomable depths of the sea. Giant sea worms are its pillows. Until one day the flames of sea worms warmed the seafloor. Men and angels alike will see it rising from the bottom of the sea with a roar. Everything on the sea will be destroyed. This is the legend of Kalakan. Certainly, legends are legends. Sea Butcher Black Sam, who ate the fruit of the North Blue Monster, could not violate the basic rules of the devil fruit. Please give me flowers. Breaking the iron rule that people with abilities cannot swim. Even the North Blue Giant Monster that dominated the ocean is now a landlubber. And judging from its appearance, more like a giant octopus or king squid. But since it is a fantasy beast ability, he also has corresponding legendary abilities. Admiral Cook's Griffin will flash Kizaru's laser beam. Black Sam the Butcher's North Blue Monster has the freezing ray of frozen Aokiji. The ferocious octopus has its mouthparts wide open. Extremely cold freezing light radiates irregularly from it. Attack all directions indiscriminately. Anyone touched by the freezing ray. Be it living or non-living things. Whether it's a marine or a pirate. Everything was frozen into ice sculptures in an instant. Siren 8 volumes. The 300-meter giant octopus used its tentacles to support its huge body. Then it spins wildly. The terrifying force raised the entire forest within a kilometer radius to the ground. This is Black Sam the Butcher's special skill. Under the hurricane rolled up by the Kraken. Even Admiral Cook's Cyclops can't penetrate or stop it. Asshole. Admiral Cook's eyes turned red as he looked at the many sailors who were unfortunately seriously injured or even killed by Black Sam's attack. The originally bright golden laser also turned into blood red light. Shout, 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 that's it. This is what it feels like. It's been 5 years. I've been depressed for too long. Derek, the Scarlet Beast King, opened his arms and laughed intoxicatedly. By his side, the righteous Marines who originally shared the same hatred were constantly killing each other. The screams were mixed with the desperate cries and shouts of the sailors. It forms a terrifying piece of music. Bahahaha. Reorganize my zombie army. Barbassa, Lord of the Undead, laughed and waved. The undead zombie army reappears in the sea. This battlefield is the home of Barbassa's shadow fruit ability. Whether it's a marine or a pirate. Whether it's a living person or a corpse. All can become his material. The brutal war continues. Sudden rumble. A loud noise like thunder exploded in the sky. The Marines and pirates on both sides of the battlefield on Sycan Island were so shocked that they all raised their heads in unison. The sky of the southeastern defense line is not far away. Several floating sky islands were heading in their direction. The loud noise came from higher in the sky. A huge island exploded before their eyes. Mountain. Chapter 61 Shocking. Horrified. The one who takes action is by Yaksha. Open black lens bracket 7/10. Please subscribe close black lens bracket. Advertise here. Rumble rumble. Above the distant sky. Explode a grand fireworks. The terrifying grand scene made the war on the battlefield of Sycan Island unable to help but slow down. Then, what exactly is it? Someone whispered unconsciously. It seems, something exploded. No matter what, it's just a little thing anyway. One of the pirates waved his hand indifferently. In their perspective, the thing that exploded looked endless because it was too high. But, boom, wow, when the fragments of the explosion fell on Sycan Island and the surrounding waters, a terrifying impact storm and tsunami of tens of meters were triggered. Only then did the people on the battlefield finally know. That's no small thing at all, but a real behemoth. It's an island. It's an island that exploded. Because 463 is too far away, it looks inconspicuous. It's actually a whole island. Countless people in the marine and pirate camps were stunned and silent. Hey, what exactly is going on? The fragments alone are already so huge, so how big is the island itself? How did a perfectly good island explode? And if I remember correctly, those flying islands are the ability of the Flying Devil. The Flying Devil David Berg is here too. That's our reinforcement, but no matter how you look at it, something seems wrong. Damn David Berg, what on earth is that idiot doing? Eric the Red Devil's expression darkened. A strong intuition told him that something bad had happened. Regarding the prison break riot on Prison Island last night, he already knew it through the secret report from the subordinates who stayed on the floating sky island. Telling the truth is not a big deal. David Berger wants to continue playing cat and mouse. He won't go out of his way to accuse. As long as he doesn't miss the plan, just let him do it. Only, what is unfolding now is beyond his control. What are you looking around for, lava brat? The angry roar from Marshal Orlando woke up Eric the Red Devil. The white horse Shinso flew past, bringing up a splash of blood. Ah, damn Orlando, what on earth have you done? Eric the Red Devil yelled angrily. Not because of the wound on his arm. It's about the changes on Sky Island. You can directly send people to kidnap and exchange hostages, but can't we rescue our partners? Marshal Orlando asked rhetorically. Damn it, is it Admiral Raymond? Eric the Red thought of Admiral, the fastest thunder. After a moment, he shook his head violently, overturning this guess. Even Admiral would never be able to do this. Although Flying Demon David Berg is an idiot, he is not a weakling. Not to mention there's still Dark Uranus Beckett sitting around. Even if Beckett doesn't take action himself, the number one guard beside him, Francis, will definitely do it for him. Francis, who possesses the power of Paramesh's many fruits, is not even inferior to the Six Kings. Even if it were really an admiral, it would be impossible for him to capture the floating sky island guarded by 3 kings and countless experts so easily. That's how it should be. Eric the Red Devil suddenly turned his head. Looking at a cadre. Captain, I have already contacted Berg, but there is no response from Berg. The cadres of the Red Beard Regiment reported quickly. Ah, look over there. Islands are falling towards us. You're going to be smashed to pieces. On Saipan, the pirates and marines screamed in terror one after another. People fighting in the coastal areas ignored their opponents and fled madly inland. Boom, rumble, like a meteorite hitting the sea. Only a small part of the island that fell from the sky borders Seacon Island. Most of them still fell into the sea. The terrifying impact silenced the world. Only the deafening crash echoed. A tsunami wall tens of meters high thrust into the sky. When it is about to devour Sycan Island, the north blue monster opens its huge mouth. Exhales freezing rays. Freeze the roaring tsunami. Turned into a huge dome. So beautiful. However, that wonderful picture did not last long. The huge tsunami wall that could swallow up the island exploded under the subsequent terrifying shocks. Countless ice crystals soared into the sky along with endless dust. Atmospheric distortion. Space trembles. The 4 elements are in chaos. Everything is invisible. I don't know how much time has passed. The shaking of the island subsided. The roaring waves receded. Endless smoke and dust disperse with the wind. Like a natural disaster, the aftermath of the island's fall has dissipated. The buzzing in people's ears gradually diminished. The surviving pirates began to curse. Damn David Berg, do you want to destroy us and Marine together? Damn that guy, if I catch him, I will never spare him. Sea Butcher Black Sam, who exited the form of the North Blue Giant monster and returned to his human form, shouted angrily. Because if he hadn't reacted quickly enough before, I am afraid that I will have to rest and be swallowed up by the terrifying tsunami. Although he is the North Blue Giant monster that dominates the ocean. But still lost to Devil Fruit's curse. If it is swept away by a tsunami. Even if he could survive, he might still find it difficult to move. Then the legend will really come true. Become a motionless, big tortoise, in the sea. Lord Black Sam, Captain, several ferocious pirates from the Butcher Pirates came running anxiously. What's wrong? Flying Devil. The Flying Devil David Berger is dead. What did you say? Is that idiot David Berg dead? After hearing the news, Eric the Red Devil's voice unconsciously raised an octave. Is the information accurate? It's absolutely true, Captain. This is the news from Mr. Beckett, and we have also confirmed it with the officials of the Flying Devil Group. Also, Lord Francis has also been seriously injured and cannot fight. Nani. Even Francis. Butcher Black Sam's eyes widened in shock. Regarding the strength of the bodyguards beside Uranus Beckett in the dark. They 5.4 people know it best. That is definitely a strong man who can rival Admiral. However, what exactly is going on? Who did it? Who killed the Flying Devil and seriously injured Francis? Who among the Marines has this ability? Eric the Red Devil, Black Sam the Butcher, and the pirate cadres under their command were all calm and helpless at the moment. Magma Brat, we're not the only Marines who have a heart of justice. An evil party like you will never win against justice. Marshal White Horse Orlando shouted decisively. Captain Eric. Captain Black Sam. There's news. We know who did it. The shooter was Roger. Roger Chester. Impel Down Shirayasha. Chapter 62 Excited. Be inspired. Marine Idol Roger. Open black lens bracket 8/10 please subscribe close black lens bracket. Advertise here. Sudden island crash. The all-out war between Marine and pirates was suspended. Both sides issued emergency assembly orders at the same time to reorganize their teams. The pirate side. Nani. What did you say? The Flying Devil is dead. Francis also lost. The one who took action was Shiro Yaksha who was impelled down. Who the hell is Shiro Yaksha who was impelled down? Shock, horror, and panic have become the main themes of the pirates. They thought that with the arrival of strong reinforcements, they were sure to win this battle. They never thought that the reinforcements were coming from the opposite side, and their powerful combat power had been ruthlessly defeated by the other side. How could this not frighten the pirates? Compared to ordinary pirates. At this moment, hearing the news about Yaksha's appearance. Naturally, the people who were most shocked were the 10 impelled down prisoners including Derek and Barbassa. As prisoners of eternal hell, they are the people in the world who best understand the weight represented by the 3 words, White Yaksha. Shiro Yaksha. Shiro Yaksha. Absolutely unforgivable. Derek, the Scarlet Beast King, screamed like a demon, crazy. Yaksha is here. No. I don't want to see him. That's Roger Shirayasha. He's a devil. It's Shinigami. Whatever you can't win, you absolutely can't win. Only that man is absolutely invincible. Escape quickly. I don't want to go back to Impel Down. The prisoners, who were left with deep psychological shadows due to Roger's daily practice, would tremble in their calves as soon as they heard the word Shiro Yaksha. There is only one thought left in my mind, and that is, escape. But they didn't get far before they could escape. Countless octopuses shot out from the chin of Butcher Black Sam, catching everyone who escaped. That's almost enough. He's just a nobody from Impel Down. Is it worth being so scared by you? Black Sam the Butcher roared with rage, shocking everyone. If you still regard that Shiro Yaksha as a nobody, you will be the one who will be defeated next, Black Sam. Dark Uranus Beckett came with the surviving remnants of the group. What did you say? Beckett, do you want to die? Black Sam the Sea Butcher was furious. Enough. Hockey roared loudly. The captain of the Red Beard Pirates, Eric the Red Devil, has hockey leaked from his side. Drinking stopped the noise in all directions. I will deal with the Impel Down Shirayasha myself. Red-bearded Eric slowly clenched his black-red fists. Brother, I too, my brother Derek, don't worry, I will make that man lie at your feet like a dog, begging for forgiveness. Yes, brother Sama, I believe you. The other side of the island opposite the pirates. Under the control of Marshal Orlando and Admiral Cook. The sailors moved back and forth and treated the wounded. Very busy. Minimize losses as much as possible. Compared to the shock and panic of the pirates. At this moment, on Marine's side, people's morale is as high as ever. David Berg, the Flying Devil who plays the role of Six Kings, is confirmed dead. Dark Uranus Beckett's powerful bodyguard has lost his fighting power. Marine legend Vice Admiral Carl is back safely. Marine goddess Tia, Vice Admiral Mountbatten, Lewis and more sailors successfully returned alive. The person who created this series of miracles was the former warden of Impel Down, Roger Shirayasha. There is no more exciting news than this. Let me tell you, Mr. Roger is really too strong. Is it more powerful than Admiral? Of course, even pirates at the level of Six Kings are nothing in front of Mr. Roger. The evidence is that the Flying Devil David Berg is already dead. Wow, how powerful is Roger Shirayasha who was impelled down? Let me tell you this, did you see the scene of the island exploding earlier? Master Roger did it. Really? That's an island. What are you trying to do to lie to you? We saw it with our own eyes. Sir Roger, you can blow up that island with just one strike of your sword. He is the ultimate swordsman who stands at the top of the sword. It's decided, Mr. Roger will be my idol from now on. Me too. And I. The sail is excited and excited shouts came one after another. Even the pain of war is downplayed by the exciting news at this moment. Welcome back, old man. Marshal Orlando opened his arms and gave old Carl a huge bear hug. I'm sorry, Orlando, I really embarrassed our steel fist Shinso combination this time. Old Carl grinned sheepishly. As long as I can see you alive again, that's better than anything else. Yes, it's all thanks to brother Roger. Cough cough cough. What's wrong with you, Orlando? It's okay, it's just a minor injury. I accidentally got it scratched by that lava kid. Don't be brave, old man. The teacher has told you so many times, don't be brave and don't do things beyond your ability. Why don't you listen? Tia, I finally managed to bring you to escape death, but you went back again. Cough cough cough. I'm sorry, Teacher Cook. It won't happen next time. Just calm down and calm down. Tia patted Admiral Cook on the back and sincerely admitted his mistake and apologized. Admiral Cook was so angry that his face turned red and his neck was thick, and he wanted to give his disciple a brain-breaking memory. But seeing Tia humbly admitting her mistake, she couldn't bear it, so she finally gave up. Teacher, it's really thanks to Roger this time that Mr. Carl and everyone were saved, and that annoying flying devil was also defeated by the crossing grid. Rear Admiral Tia said with pride on her face. Listening to his disciple's praise of Roger, Admiral Cook's eyes immediately fell on Roger, who was treating the sailors not far away. It was rare that he didn't have a black face. He took 2 steps forward and nodded his thanks seriously. I really want to thank you this time, Roger. Don't worry, I just did what I should do, that's all. $23. Roger smiled. Brother Roger, Brother Carl is calling me, I'll go over first. The dilapidated prison island. There are third parties here that are not helping each other. The pirates who were imprisoned by the flying devil. As well as the 6 kings, the remnants of the White Pearl pirates led by the Snow Witch Esmeralda. Sister, take this opportunity, let's jump and run. Yes, sister, Marine's attention is now on Redbeard and the others. This is our best chance. Now please give the order to seize the warship and escape. Arabella, Zella and other living crew members repeatedly remonstrated. The Snow Witch Esmeralda said nothing. Oni-sama, our cooperation with Marine has ended. The old Vice Admiral named Carl and Miss Tia have returned safely, it's time for us to go back too. Everyone in the White Pearl group looked at their captain expectantly. But is this really good? The Snow Witch Esmeralda finally spoke. Can we really live a peaceful life after we go back? With that man here, the disintegration of the 6 kings pattern is already doomed. Without Redbeard and the others, we will be the biggest target in this sea. The world government will not let us go. I'm already tired. The Snow Witch shook her head. But, Oni-sama. Don't worry, I won't die. Chapter 63 The Sword God Who Stands at the Pinnacle of the Sword. Open black lens bracket 9/10 please subscribe close black lens bracket. Advertise here. New World. Sycan Island. The earth is riddled with holes. The sky is equally divided into black and white. The sun was shining brightly on one side. It was cloudy on the other side. Darkness and light. Evil and good. The disputes and chaos of this era. Everything will come to an end here. Victory or defeat, success or failure is all accomplished in one battle. Opposite is the terrifying alliance of kings of the sea. Exterminate the dead flying demon David Berg. On the pirate side, there are also full-blooded Eric the Red Devil, Black Sam the Butcher, and Dark Uranus Beckett. There are also eternal hell prisoners such as the liberated Lord of the Undead Barbassa and the Scarlet Beast King Derek. Plus nearly half of the senior cadres of the Alliance of Kings. The lineup is luxurious. In contrast, Marine's side is far from the strongest. Admiral Raymond and Admiral Spruance went to guard the island of gods due to orders from the world government. Also taken away were the elite Vice Admirals of the headquarters. Now, the only high-end combat power on the Marine side is Marshal Orlando and the half-health Griffin Admiral Cook. Although old Carl's hands and feet were reconnected under Rogers' Black Jade intermittent cream. But it only lasted a few hours. Naturally, it is impossible to return to the peak. It can only barely serve as a Vice Admiral combat force. Naturally, the newly rescued Vice Admiral Mountbatten and others were unable to participate in the war. But, even so, even if the lineups of both sides are very different. Incredible. There was no confusion, fear or panic in the hearts of the sailors who participated in the battle. Because there is another person standing in front of them. The young legend of Impel Down. White Yaksha. Roger Chester. As long as that person is still standing. They don't think they will lose at all. Ha 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 ha. Marine's old marshal, is that what you rely on? He's just a brat, and you Marine really has no one left. Eric the Red Devil laughed sarcastically. Of course he knew that killing Roger, David Berg, was definitely not simple. But of course you can't weaken your momentum with your words. The big Marine actually needs an Impel Down brat to hold up the situation. You Marines are really getting worse every year. Sea Butcher Black Sam shook his head mockingly. What did you say? Bastard Redbeard. To deal with you, we are enough. If we bring our entire Marine lineup here, I'm afraid I won't scare you to death. Some hot-blooded sailors responded angrily. They will never tolerate the pirates' contempt for their faith. Beside the marshal, old Carl took 2 steps forward. There was a teasing arc on the old face. Redbeard, how powerful Brother Roger's intimidation is, just look around you. Barbassa and the others are almost scared to death. Old Carl shouted loudly. What are you talking about? Stop spitting, you bastard. Barbassa, the undead creature, was furious. You. At this moment, Roger stepped forward. The majestic and indifferent gaze swept over Barbassa and other eternal hell prisoners. The bodies of all the prisoners swept by his gaze were trembling unconsciously. My body instinctively produced great fear, so much so that my calves were trembling. I've told you many times before, when you leave Impel Down, you will be executed. Roger grinned. Snap, snap. 2 prisoners who had been big pirates were so frightened that they fell to the ground. Ha 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 ha. The sailors who witnessed this scene laughed happily. As for Redbeard, Butcher and others, their expressions were as gloomy as if they were dripping water. I wanted to use my words first to overwhelm Marine with his momentum. The result was unexpected. Stealing the chicken will lose the rice. These big pirates of eternal hell, who were valued by them and therefore used as hostages in exchange, had not played any role. They had lost their face first. Wow ah ah ah, see Butcher Black Sam yelled angrily. The octopus tentacles on its chin danced like a swarm of demons. Pierced the bores of the 2 disgraced prisoner pirates. Kill. Red-bearded Eric waved his big hand down. The order to charge was given. Kill, kill, kill. Kill them all. Kill all the self-righteous Marines. Justice must prevail, and only the winner is righteous. Young men, take over the world by killing all the Marines. The main group of the Alliance of Kings, plus more affiliated pirate groups, roared and charged towards Marine. The terrifying murderous intention and evil spirit condensed, driving the dark clouds in the sky to move towards the light. Gentlemen, for the sake of justice. Marine Marshal Orlando held up the knight's spear in his hand and climbed onto the white Pegasus. For justice. Justice will prevail. No need to be afraid. The sailors, who had long been prepared to fight to the death, raised their arms and shouted in unison. Follow the footsteps of the Marshal and Admiral, and face the brutal pirate army without fear. The one who is faster than Marshal Orlando is naturally Impel Down Shireyasha. There seemed to be a streak of white lightning flying across the empty plain battlefield, causing bursts of explosion sounds. Kill. Kill them all. Kang. The sharp sword light shines brighter than the sun. The words of the cannon fodder pirates rushing at the front suddenly stopped. The ferocious expression on his face solidified. Poof. Poof. Blood suddenly appeared. The 100-meter-long arc moon sword flashed past the pirate army, ruthlessly harvesting the heads of dozens or hundreds of pirates. The great swordsman. There is no doubt that he is the great swordsman. Darkness next to Uranus, a swordsman dressed in warrior attire and carrying 2 swords at his waist shouted in shock. Kurozumi, how does your kendo compare to this? Beckett asked in a deep voice. If you haven't fought before, you won't know anything about this kind of thing. The swordsman named Kurozumi grinned. He has great confidence in his sword. It's not just him. Swordsman cadres under the Redbeard Regiment and the Butcher Regiment. Everyone is eager to give it a try. I want to try out how heavy Roger's sword is. Captain Black Sam, let me weigh that man. A swordsman volunteered. Pull out a long knife that is as high as your body. He attacked Roger with great momentum. Roger didn't even look at him. A backhand slash tied, cutting off the famous sword wrapped around armament hockey in his hand. At the same time, a hideous wound was left on his chest that was so deep that his internal organs were visible. One blow, defeat, hiss. Others in the field have high self-esteem and are very confident in their swords. The swordsman and swordsman who wanted to measure Roger all gasped unconsciously. Quickly give up the bold thoughts in your heart. Beside Beckett, swordsman Kurozumi, who was born in Wanokuni, clenched his fists. Take a peek at Madara to get the full picture. Roger's casual knife was a realm beyond their reach. That is the sword god who truly stands at the pinnacle of swordsmanship. Chapter 64 Conqueror's Hedge. Emperor level splits the sky. Open black lens bracket 10 out of 10. Please subscribe close black lens bracket. Advertise here. New world, the war on Saiken Island restarts. Roger, who takes the lead and charges into battle, has a simple idea. Before colliding with the enemy's general, kill as many enemy cadres as possible. Relieve pressure on Marine who lacks backbone strength. For Roger's intentions, of course Carl Sr., Orlando and others knew. In order not to put more pressure on Roger, each breaks out and rushes to kill. Same. Eric the Redbeard, Dark Uranus Beckett and others can also see through. HMPH, you are such an arrogant boy who wants to be a hero by himself. Eric the Redbeard grinned cruelly. He wants to reduce Marine's losses, how can we do what he wants? Dark Uranus Beckett had a sneer on his lips. Eric, let them see you as the strongest person in the world after Grant. Beckett, I know this kind of thing without you having to say it. Eric the Red Devil whispered coldly. Gudong Gudong. Logia lava fruit ability activates. His body suddenly melted into flowing black-red magma. The terrifying high temperature radiated. The temperature in the air rises at a rate visible to the naked eye. The atmosphere around it is even more distorted by the steaming heat. Stars. Eric the Red Devil hit his right hand hard towards the sky. Blasting. Boom. Countless red magma bombs continued to fly towards the sky. A brief stagnation at the highest point. Then it fell towards the ground. Hundreds of fireballs flew across the sky. This scene. Both spectacular and dangerous. At this time, the star explosion played by Eric the Red Devil was similar to the meteor volcano played by Admiral Akainu in later generations. This is also natural. Both are Logia Lava Fruit 430 ability users. The developed moves overlap, which is reasonable. Certainly. Same move. Different people use it with different powers. The power of Eric the Red Star explosion is comparable to that of Admiral Akainu's meteor volcano. No matter in terms of quantity or power, they are inferior. Ha 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 ha, if you can protect me, then protect me. Eric the Red Devil laughed smugly. Roger glanced at him calmly. Raise your hand and strike with the ultimate sword, the great swordsman draws a. Nearly half of the magma bombs were cut in half. Invisible vibrations spread. Split in half, the magma bomb further fragmented. The other half of the magma bombs were also blocked by the joint efforts of marine experts such as Marshal Orlando, Admiral Cook and Old Carl. Inevitably, a small number of magma bombs fell to the ground. Caused some casualties to Marine. But compared to the prediction of Eric the Red Devil, this casualty is almost too small to count. Roger raised his hand and struck again. A magma bomb penetrated the sporadic area. Call. He opened his mouth and blew lightly into the burning magma bomb. The flames on the magma then went out. Eric the Redbeard, your ability to light candles on a birthday cake is perfect. Roger grinned. The words were full of ridicule. One sentence made Eric the Red Devil furious. His most powerful Logia Lava Fruit ability, which he was proud of, was slandered by Roger, a brat, as being only worthy of lighting a candle. What a shame and humiliation. In this world, no one has ever dared to despise him so much. Even the Marine, CDDF, Marshal and the 3rd Admiral didn't dare to talk to him like this. But now, ha ha ha, you really deserve to be Brother Roger. Old Carl laughed. Old man, leave a magma bomb and take it back to light some wax to celebrate. Marshal Orlando echoed. And then a Marine actually did this. This scene, like a needle, it pierced the heart of Eric the Red Devil. It also stuck in his eyes. His black and white eyes suddenly turned red. Arrogant brat, I will make you pay the price. Eric the Red Devil spoke coldly. The words fell. Endless magma surged out from around him. It spread in all directions, causing both Marines and pirates to flee for their lives. It doesn't take a moment. Roger and Eric were the only two people left within a 300-meter radius. Beckett, stop hiding it, let's go and clean up Marines' old guys together. Black Sam, the ferocious butcher of the sea, grinned. Let's go. Darkness Uranus. Beckett pushed up his glasses, and the aura around him disappeared. Soldier against soldier. Against the general. Emperor versus emperor. The conflict between Roger the White Yasha and Eric the Red Devil is about to break out. The raging waves of magma spread toward Roger. Roger does not retreat but advances. He took a sharp step with his right foot and stepped forward. The powerful impact wind caused the magma wave to turn back and forth. Bow. A wave splashed from the wall of magma rising into the sky. A devilish head slowly took shape. Immediately afterwards, more demonic faces emerged from the magma walls. Roaring and hissing, it broke away from the wall and bit into Roger. Swish. Roger swung his knife, cut off all the devil's heads with the ultimate swordsman's flat A. At the same time, deep ravines were cut on the ground. Guide and fill all the spreading magma into it. Purgatory cage. Eric the Red Devil reached out with his big hand. The palms like palms further swelled against the storm. Like a prison cage falling from the sky, it collapsed. Roger never dodges or avoids. Raise your hand and slash. In an understatement, he blocked the falling of the big hand of magma. Brothers Carl and Orlando just gave me a task. Roger suddenly spoke. Eric the Red Devil frowned. They said my mission was to hold you for just 3 hours. It's just that now I'm thinking, maybe it won't take 3 hours. Roger spoke again. Ha 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 ha, have you finally realized how weak you are? You know you can't hold it back, so you have some self-awareness. Eric the Red Devil laughed proudly. No, you misunderstood. What I mean is that if you only have this level, then I can completely defeat you in less than 3 hours. Roger is calm and confident. With a slight smile. The big hand of magma exploded under the invisible vibration force. The terrifying shock even spread to the body of Eric the Red Devil. The shock cracked his tiger's mouth, and blood flowed out. Compared to the pain in the palm of my hand, what makes Eric the Red Devil even more unbearable is the anger in his heart. Once again, he was completely angered by Roger's words. Okay, Impel Down kid, let me show you my true strength as the strongest in the world. Red Devil Eric smiled ferociously. He clenched his right hand into a fist. Stretch flat to the side. The hot magma clings to his arm like a mecha. This made his right arm 10 times thicker than his left arm. It's like the 4th speed Great Ape King gun of the later Straw Hat Luffy. The black airflow above the magma punch is not the color of the magma itself. But the powerful armament hockey connects the flowing fluid magma into one body. Click. Vaguely. On top of the punch of magma, there is also a hint of brushed lightning that is not very eye-catching. The power of Ling's fist further increased. Roger's eyes narrowed slightly. Feeling the threat of that fist, he also showed no signs of neglect. The power reaching the extreme level of IV5 surges through the body. His left hand brushed over the blade. The superb armament hockey, which is close to the extreme level of IV5, flows and entwines. Go to hell, you brat. Eric the Red Devil jumped high. The Great Ape King's magma punch, in his right hand crashed down with the terrifying power of splitting mountains and splitting islands. Roger tapped his toes on the ground. The body shape rises from the sky. Face the powerful and heavy magma punch with an understatement. Kang. There seemed to be a crisp sound of knives exploding between heaven and earth. That's Roger wielding the knife. One knife comes out. The dazzling sword light became the only thing in people's eyes. In an instant, a punch from Eric the Red. One from Roger. Touch, but not quite touched. There is still about 10 centimeters between the fist and the knife. However, the ultimate surge of power has already occurred. There is like an energy sphere between the fist and the knife, expanding and contracting uneasily. Any bit of power that was released at will would explode a large crater with a radius of 100 meters on the land of the island. As the conflict of terrifying forces continues, the entire battlefield was surrounded by their momentum. The terrifying tornado raged, bringing up hundreds of thousands of kilograms of boulders to circle and explode. Heaven and earth eclipse under their power. Above the distant sky. Things are changing. Endless cloud accumulation. Covering the whole world. You can almost die for me, kid. Eric the Red Devil opened his mouth and shouted. Powerful black and red conqueror's hockey complements the magma punch. This should be my line. Roger responded faintly. The blazing white high-level conquerors is in harmony with its own sword intent. The two conquerors hockey, which were supposed to be invisible, were in conflict at this moment. Transform the intangible into something substantial. Click, click, black, red and blazing white. The two colors of lightning are constantly intertwining and colliding. The conflict between Ling's fist and knife further escalated. Rumble, rumble, with the sound of thunder. A huge gap opened in the sky. In this way, this royal-level showdown is certified. Chapter 65 Rocks vs. Kong. The beginning of 50 years of destiny. Open black lens bracket. Please subscribe on 11/10 close black lens bracket. Advertise here. Starting hand, the sky splits. The high sky. The thick clouds gathering from all directions opened a deep gap. This scene deeply shocked everyone on the battlefield. Look, because the sky is split. What on earth is going on? Is the world going to end? No. No, it's because of the confrontation between them. Redbeard and White Yaksha. The conflict between their powers made Tiandu burst apart. This kind of thing. Wow. Both the Marines and pirates fighting on Second Island were shocked and in an uproar. Not just ordinary pirates and sailors. The other strong men on this battlefield. Whether it's Marine top players like Old Carl, Admiral Cook, or Marshal Orlando. Or the pinnacle of pirates like Black Sam the Butcher, Dark Uranus Beckett, and Snow Witch. Without exception, everyone was shocked by it. Just a confrontation. It was obviously just a collision between fist and knife. But it made the sky crack. Such a grand occasion. For 99.9% of the people in the field. It's a once-in-a-lifetime experience. But there are exceptions. Old Carl, the Marine legend of the previous era, and Marshal Orlando looked at each other and nodded. The scene in front of them reminded them unconsciously of the battle 40 years ago. The White Horse Admiral Orlando teamed up with another young admiral to stop Grant, the strongest man in the world. Carl Sr. also participated in the war as the Buster Call Vice Admiral. Period. Old Carl and Orlando once teamed up to hit a unique blow. Bard Grant fought back equally domineeringly. The conflict between the three of them at that time resulted in the current scene of the sky being torn apart. There is no doubt about it. At this moment, the showdown between Roger and Eric the Red Devil. Astonishingly, it has reached the peak level of Dahai. We are all old, and now it is the world of young people. Marshal Orlando was filled with emotion. Even if you are an old guy, you will still have a burning aftertaste after all. Come on, let's finally open a way out for the young people. Old Carl grinned. Teacher, what's wrong with you? Rear Admiral Tia looked at Admiral Cook. I'm far inferior to him. Admiral Cook sighed calmly. 5 years later. Finally accept this reality calmly. This moment. Accept this reality. Admiral Cook's thoughts that had been blocked for 5 years suddenly became clear. When taking action, Ying's attack should be fierce. You actually got it right, Beckett, that white Yaksha brat, what kind of monster is he? Sea Butcher Black Sam, who transformed into a 300-meter North Blue monster, gritted his teeth. I thought this battle between Eric the Redbeard and Roger would be a battle. Not to mention that the situation is catastrophic, at least the outcome is certain. However, now it seems that this is not the case at all. Until now I have seen it with my own eyes. Black Sam the Butcher finally believed in the judgment of Dark Uranus Beckett. That man really has a fighting power that is superior to Admiral, enough to compete with Redbeard. It's too early to say anything now. Anyway, the battle between those two people won't end so easily. We just have to do what we have to do. Dark Uranus Beckett said solemnly. Just as Beckett expected, a duel between emperors. Split the sky is just a greeting. The real victory or defeat is yet to come. Ha 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 ha, you can actually block my hell-killing punch, interesting. It's really interesting. Impel Down little Shiraiaksha, your words will definitely help me enjoy it more. Eric the Red Devil laughed wantonly. That's what I want to say. I didn't expect that you are quite capable, and you are better than that idiot flying devil. Your words should be able to force out 8 of my powers. Roger's careful assessment. Finished. The smile on Red Devil Eric's face solidified once again. Roger was just telling the truth seriously. However, this fact. It sounded like a huge mockery to the ears of Eric the Red Devil. It was completely unacceptable to him. You brat, you will be speechless right now. Red Devil Eric's face suddenly turned cold. The raised left hand also rose against the storm. Covered in solid armed magma armor. Eric the Red Devil waved his arms like a magma monster and launched a violent attack. Roger sheathed the knife. Fight with both fists armed with ultimate without fear. The confrontation between the Emperor and the Emperor caused landslides and ground cracks, and magma flowed back. The other side. The battlefield between generals and generals. The duel between Marshal Orlando and Admiral Cook and Butcher Black Sam and Dark Uranus Beckett is in full swing and has fallen into a fierce stalemate. Level 1 again. Old Carl, who had just recovered from his serious injury, faced his old rival from 5 years ago, Barbossa, the Lord of the Undead. A skinny camel is bigger than a horse. Even though Old Carl is not in peak condition. Naturally, it is more than enough to deal with Barbossa, who relies on his ability. Barbossa's improvised zombie army, both quantity and quality, are far from what they were 5 years ago. He was easily defeated by Old Carl's steel fist. You forced me to do this. Well, let me show you the real trump card that I didn't have time to use last time. Barbossa, Lord of the Undead, gritted his teeth. He slapped the ground with his big hand. A gathering place of shadows. The move that Roger had been looking forward to finally reappeared. Under the gathering of dozens or hundreds of sailors and pirate shadows. Barbossa's figure suddenly swelled in the wind and turned into a fat little giant. How's it going? You're afraid? Barbossa laughed triumphantly. However, when he opened his mouth, a shadow slipped from his mouth. He was so frightened that he quickly shut his mouth and did not dare to speak anymore. Obviously. Please give me flowers. Mastery of the move Shadow Gathering. Barbossa was not even as good as the later Moria. Just as he was trying to tame and suppress the shadow in his body. Old Carl stepped forward calmly. A steel fist struck him on his swollen belly. In an instant, it was deflated. What a useless guy. Derek, the Scarlet Beast King, sneered. His eyes were locked on the beautiful figure not far away. It's also a showdown between old rivals. Marine women, only you and Shiro Yasha, I will never forgive. Go to hell. Derek waved his hand. Dozens or hundreds of sailors trapped in his pet's halo struggled and approached South Asia. Same as 5 years ago. Seeing this scene again, Tia unconsciously felt boundless anger in her heart. But this time she is no longer the immature girl who can only rely on Roger. She has also become a pillar of marine who can stand alone. Shave. Tia's figure disappeared in a flash. With the 6-style shave, he emerged from the siege of the sailors with precision. The next time he appeared was behind Derek. So fast. Derek was shocked. Feeling the killing intent behind him, cold sweat wet his back. His sight was able to capture DIA's figure, but his body was unable to make any evasive movements. It's over, I won't show mercy this time. Tia spoke coldly. The sword pierced Derek's back of the heart without mercy. However, only a soft ding was heard. A flash of cold light came across the sky. Accurately blocked Tia's long knife. Let me be your opponent from now on. The swordsman from the Wanokuni Kurozumi clan grinned confidently. The other side inherited the steel fist of Old Carl. The 15-year-old boy Sora is invincible. Finally he met his match. And the other person looks obviously younger than him. Hey, let's play with me next. 10-year-old Rox grinned, a cruel smile. The young man said nothing. The figure suddenly disappeared in a flash. The next time he appeared was in front of Rox. I'm sorry, this is a battlefield, I won't show mercy. The boy Sora spoke calmly. Tay, Bo. Sora's fingers that could penetrate rocks fell on Rox. A blood flower was lit on his heart. However, the fingers only pricked his skin and could not make any further progress. The muscles all over the boy Rox are as if they are alive. Squeezing the fingers that imprisoned the boy Sora. It hurts so much, but the rest is mine. Rox grinned. Raise your fist. Blast out. The 50-year relationship between Rox, the overlord of the sea, and Kong, the commander-in-chief of the armed forces, begins here. Chapter 66. Admiral Cook fell down. Paramesha power-up fruit. Open black lens bracket. Please subscribe on 12/10 close black lens bracket. Advertise here. New World Sycan Island. Landslides and landslides. The sea is crashing on the shore. Magma erupts underground. Marine and pirate. Investing hundreds of thousands of people in an all-out war. It had lasted for a full 2 hours. An inch of mountains and rivers, an inch of blood. The entire island is soaked in blood. Both sides of the war. No one can escape unscathed. Even for a strong man like Roger. In the fierce battle with Eric the Red Devil, regardless of the cost, he was injured to some extent. The body was burned by the hot magma. But for this burn, Eric of the Red Devils paid a huge price. Even if they are both at the Imperial level, there are differences between them. When Shock Fruit's ability is upgraded to LV4, the true meaning of shock. Roger has already reached the true Emperor level. Hours ago, strength, speed, defense and swordsmanship reached the extreme level IV5, which made Roger one step further. Another big step has been taken in the realm of Emperor level. Even if he is still far from mastering Conqueror's entangling skill. But Roger still truly stands at the top of the world. In contrast, Eric, the Red Devil, has only recently discovered the secret of Overlord, 367, color entanglement. Now it can only be regarded as a first glimpse into the Imperial realm. For 2 hours, a full-scale battle broke out regardless of the consequences. Roger's clothes were in pieces, and there were several burn marks on his horny dragon-like muscles. But that's all. On the other hand, Eric of the Red Devils is much more. Even elementalization can't make him completely immune to Roger's punch. His head was bruised and bleeding, and the corners of his mouth were bleeding. Deep and shallow fist marks can be seen everywhere on the tall body. There was also a long and narrow knife edge, diagonally downward from his shoulder to his waist and abdomen, almost cutting him in two. The majestic aura is now completely out of control. Compare the two phases. Make a judgment. The balance is no longer there. It's only a matter of time before the winner is decided. And this time won't be long. However, just before Roger and Eric the Red Devil decided the winner, the general battlefield on the other side, changes occurred suddenly. Transformed into the strongest Griffin Orc form, the Invincible Admiral army fell. Cook, Mr. Cook, Cook Admiral, Teacher. Throughout the audience, the sailors screamed in panic. She LV. The white Pegasus neighed. Marshal Orlando drove the Pegasus and caught Admiral Cook, who was flying upside down. Really? Sorry. Oh wow. Admiral Cook spit out a mouthful of mixed blood, rolled his eyes, and was seriously injured and fell into a coma. Have a good rest. Marshal Orlando looked solemn. Admiral Cook played despite being injured. But in Marshal Orlando's estimation, there shouldn't be such a sudden exit. After all, even if he is injured, Admiral is still Admiral. It is the highest combat power of naval headquarters. Not to mention that Admiral Cook's ability is the most durable Zone Phantom Beast Griffin. Resilience and vitality are beyond comparison. However, Admiral Cook fell so suddenly. Except for his own injuries. The more important reason lies in the previous person who took action. Marshal Orlando suddenly turned his head, his eyes locked on the man in a suit and glasses on the octopus's head. Dark Uranus Beckett. It is rumored in the sea that Beckett can become a corner of the Six Kings. It only relies on huge financial resources and powerful subordinates. Apart from these, he himself is not worth mentioning at all. For these disparaging words, Beckett never explains or proves anything. Because these rumors were originally smoke bombs that he put out by himself. In order to conceal his true strength. Play a huge role at critical moments. For his hiding, Marine has also had many speculations. There's just no definite evidence. Now, unambiguous evidence. Darkness Uranus Beckett is more than just a powerful thug. It itself is an old silver coin that has been hidden for many years. It is powerful enough to defeat a fantasy beast admiral with one strike. Ha 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 ha, I didn't expect it. I really didn't expect it. Beckett, you are indeed the one who hides the deepest. Black Sam, the half-phantom orc butcher with an octopus head on his head, a human upper body and a giant octopus lower body, laughed. Not long ago, Darkness Uranus Beckett once asked him to immobilize Admiral Cook for a moment. Black Sam the butcher did as he was told. After sacrificing dozens of tentacles. Successfully shut down Admiral Cook for 1 second. And then, Dark Uranus Beckett punches. The bright fist light is like a shooting star. One blow knocked Admiral Cook unconscious. This extraordinary attack power puts even Black Sam the butcher to shame. Beckett, you obviously have such great strength, why have you been hiding it until now? Black Sam the butcher's eyes flickered. Dark Uranus Beckett deadpanned. The expression on his face showed no emotion from beginning to end. Even if the one he defeated earlier was a genuine admiral. As long as you keep a poker face, others will not see through you. This is Beckett's foundation in this sea. Others don't know. Only he himself knows. My own strength is just 3 seconds of real man. The royal family of New World Protons has a unique skill that has been passed down from generation to generation, the Fist of the King. Accumulate for 1 hour and shoot for 1 second. But the fist punched in this second. Its power is comparable to a blow from the 4 emperors. It can easily break open the enemy's city gate. Dark Uranus Beckett's abilities are similar to those of the King's Fist. Little is known. He is actually also a person with abilities. His ability is the Paramesha Charge Fruit ability. Make your attacks more powerful by accumulating power. But it is limited by its own talent limitations. No matter how hard he works as an ordinary person. There are limits after all. Driven by the desire to gain great power, Beckett developed deep uses of the power charging fruit. He developed 10 reservoirs within his body. 1 year of accumulation can fill a pond to overflowing. And when he wants to take action, he plays at his best all year long. It is equivalent to 100 years of cultivation for ordinary people. Even Admiral Cook, the Griffin, couldn't withstand this punch, which lasted for a century. Only, his charged punch is powerful. The disadvantages are also obvious. It takes a year to build up the energy to deliver a punch. Even if you can prepare in advance, he could only throw 10 punches at most. After 10 punches, true colors revealed. When he is exhausted, any Marine colonel can arrest him. That's why Beckett keeps a low profile. He never flaunts his own strength, let alone reveals his fruit abilities to anyone. Only punch when necessary and when you are sure it will hit and won't be in vain. In this way, you can demonstrate your strength, achieve a deterrent effect, and give others an unfathomable feeling. It turns out, Beckett's plan succeeds again. At the moment, it's not just Marshal Orlando waiting for Marine. Even our own butcher Black Sam was frightened by his unpredictable attitude. I don't dare to tease him casually like before. Ha 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 ha, Beckett, you are the man qualified to rule the world with me and Eric. Leave this battlefield to me now. Go to Eric's side and help him get rid of that Shiro Yaksha. Black Sam the butcher said. No, Beckett shook his head. What we have to do now is to pursue the victory and completely defeat the pillars of Marine. As long as Marshal Marine falls, Shiro Yaksha over there will definitely be in chaos. At that time, if we work together to fight, we will definitely be able to solve everything and win. Dark Uranus Beckett said calmly. A fight to the death. He's just a ruthless punching machine after all. The body's defenses are completely inadequate. If the whole thing gets involved in the battlefield between Roger and Eric the Red Devil. He was afraid that he would be killed by the aftermath of their battle on the spot. And there's magma splashing everywhere. If you accidentally get it, your skin will peel off even if you don't die. What's really going on in Beckett's heart? Black Sam, the butcher of 0.5, didn't know. On the contrary, I think his plan makes sense. In that case, let's repeat our old tricks and deal with Marshal Marine first. Butcher Black Sam looked at Marshal Orlando and smiled ferociously. The defeat of Admiral Cook also boosted the morale of the pirates. One goes down and the other goes up. The balance of victory gradually tilted. Worse things happen. Marshal Orlando, who needed to be distracted by Beckett, was accidentally captured by the tentacles of the North Blue monster. At the critical moment, there was blowing snow under the clear sky. Heavy snow like goose feathers fell. At the same time, there was a shadow like a snow elf coming. However, what emanates from his body is Hockey, who is as good as any hero. Swish. The sword is shining brightly. The tentacles restraining Marshal Orlando were severed. Who are you? Looking at the unexpected reinforcements. Marshal Orlando couldn't help but look shocked. The other side. Darkness Uranus Beckett's face suddenly sank. See Butcher Black Sam's face was filled with only ferociousness. You bastard Snow Witch, what do you want to do? Why do you want to hinder us? Chapter 67 Red Beard is defeated. Reverse. Big win. Open black lens bracket 13/10. Please subscribe close black lens bracket. Advertise here. Ha 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 ha. Did you see that? Shireyasha, your Marine's admiral was defeated. What a useless guy. Eric the Red Devil laughed, trying to stimulate Roger's mood with words. Give yourself some breathing room. However, well, what? The look on Roger's face remained calm. The defeat of Admiral Cook and Marine's difficult situation did not waver in the slightest. Admiral Cook fell, but the Snow Witch also entered the scene. The situation was not bad enough for him to withdraw. Damn it, are you sure you don't want to take care of it? If this continues, Marine will be completely wiped out. Eric the Red Devil gritted his teeth and continued his verbal offensive unwillingly. This time, Roger simply stopped talking. He just greeted Eric the Red Devil blindly. The attack was fierce. This forced Eric the Red Devil into danger. This is the current situation. If he runs left and right, he will end up in vain. No one can take everything into account. Plan for today. Only he quickly solved Eric the Red Devil. This is the best outcome for Marine. So Roger no longer held back the slightest bit. The ultimate power in the body exploded. LV4 shock fruit ability is fully activated. Boom. Punch out. The atmosphere shattered like a mirror. Under Roger's all-out shocking punch, Eric the Red Devil was hit hard. His eyes bulged, his mouth opened wide, and he spat out a mouthful of blood mixed with internal organs. Asshole. Feeling his increasingly miserable situation, and Roger's determination to never give in, Eric of the Red Devils also broke out completely and worked hard for 23. However, his explosion was of no use at all in the face of absolute strength. Roger punched 10 times in a row. The horrifying shock caused the cold sky, sea, and islands to shatter into pieces. It's over. Roger looked indifferently at Eric, the Red Devil, who was coughing up blood. We must give him the final blow. At this time, phew. Birdsong exploded in the sky. Brother. Derek controls a bird fruit vulture form user. Unafraid of death, he launches a suicide attack on Roger. No. Don't, run. My brother. For the first time, unprecedented panic appeared on Eric the Red Devil's face. Having been ruthless all his life, he could only treat his younger brother sincerely. However, it was too late. Kang. A sharp sword flashed by. One sword style. Aye. The head of the vulture user is split in two. A small blood mark appeared on Derek's forehead. His eyes gradually became distracted. Tear. Derek's body was split in two down the middle. The rush of blood was high. Asshole Yaksha. The crazy roar of Eric the Red Devil exploded under the sky. Roger punched. Give it the final blow. Ahem. Eric the Red Devil staggered. He raised his head and fell towards the underground ravine. I'll wait for you in hell. Roger frowned slightly. There was a pause. I'm afraid I have to keep you waiting for a long time, but I can still live for a long time. Leave this sentence behind. Roger turned around. Bend your knees slightly. Level 5 extreme speed explodes in full force. Roger jumped across half of the island. Come to the general battlefield on the other side. Snow Witch, why do you want to help Marine? You are also a pirate. The angry roar of Sea Butcher Black Sam exploded. I've already said it, you got me involved first. Snow Witch Esmeralda spoke calmly. Damn it, it's all that bastard David Berg who is still causing trouble for us even after he dies. Dark Uranus Beckett gritted his teeth. In my heart, I greeted all the 18 generations of David Berg's ancestors. Ha 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 ha, Sea Butcher Black Sam suddenly laughed. In that case, whether it's the Snow Witch or Martial Marine, I want them all. The words fell. The 300-meter level North Blue giant monster suddenly leapt into the sky. 8 main tentacles protect the head. Dozens or hundreds of others came to support his huge body. Siren Volume 8. Just like the 8 Tails Killer Bee from the Hokage world next door. The 300-meter level North Blue giant monster launched its proud 8 sea monsters. The ultimate terrifying tornado storm is generated. During this period, there were also countless freezing rays shot indiscriminately. The earth was riddled with holes under the ravages of Black Sam the Butcher. For a time, it was unknown how many sailors and pirates were involved. Marshal Orlando rides a white Pegasus and wants to rescue him. But in that terrible hurricane storm, he tried his best just to keep his body steady and not to be drawn into it. The Snow Witch Esmeralda waved her hand and brought up the wind and snow in the sky, forming the shadow of the giant beast, trying to fight against it. However, he was defeated by the unrivaled tornado. Even the Snow Witch Esmeralda herself vomited blood and flew backwards. At this time, a solid embrace suddenly appeared behind the Snow Witch, stopping her from flying upside down. Could it be? Looking at Roger hugging himself. The Snow Witch couldn't help but widen her eyes in shock. Now that Roger is here, this means that the battle on the other side of the island will be decided. The terrifying Eric the Red Devil was defeated so quickly. Miss Ice, you and your team's heroic performance will be rewarded. Roger smiled slightly. Release the Snow Witch, heading straight towards the terrifying tornado hurricane that destroyed everything. Boom. Roger punched. The heaven and earth shook violently. Unparalleled surging vibrations spread out. The spinning centrifugal force of Butcher Black Sam was instantly shattered. The huge tornado hurricane he ordered was instantly destroyed. Boom. Boom. The 300-meter level North Blue giant monster flew upside down and collapsed a corner of the island. How can it be? Who is it? The ferocious Sea Butcher Black Sam screamed in shock. His proud move was cracked, and the most incredible thing was naturally none other than himself. Shirayasha. A pirate yelled. It's Shirayasha. Why does Shiro Yaksha appear here? Isn't he fighting Captain Eric? He appears here alive. Could it be that? Captain Eric, Gudong, are you defeated? The pirates murmured in unconscious shock. After a brief moment of dead silence. Oh. The sailors cheered. Roger. Mr. Roger. Lord Roger is mighty. Simply the strongest. Wake up, pirates. Then it's time for us to start fighting back. Your general is dead. Why don't you surrender quickly? Marine was demoralized by the recent defeat of Admiral Cook. At this moment, morale instantly returned to its peak and was as high as ever. The most terrifying Red Devil Eric has been solved by Roger. They can already see it. The goddess of victory was waving to them. Roger, you are indeed the strongest. You are truly my man. The corner of Tia's mouth raised in a happy arc. Ha 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 ha, as expected of brother Roger, he once again exceeded our expectations. Old Carl laughed with tears all over his face. Marshal, luckily you have lived up to your command. Roger came closer on the moonwalk. It's more than a blessing to live up to one's destiny. All I expected was for you to hold Eric back. But you are. Marshal Orlando was shocked and excited. Unable to say anything, he just nodded. This is, Dad. Snow Witch Esmeralda looked up at Roger's back and blurted out subconsciously. It was different from the momentum of Marine's side. This moment, after learning about the defeat of Eric the Red Devil, the ferocious pirates were in a gloomy mood. How could this happen? Even Captain Eric was defeated. How is this possible? But the fact is the fact. The fact that Yaksha appears alive is the best evidence. Besides, Captain Eric hasn't shown up yet. Sure enough. Even Captain Eric has been defeated. Even Redbeard has been defeated. What else can we do? Can't win. Only that Shirayasha can never win. Run away. The pirates were defeated and fled desperately. Don't even think about running. The sailors were full of momentum and pursued relentlessly. Beckett, North Blue Giant Demon Butcher Black Sam quickly looked to his side. However, he discovered that the Dark Uranus Beckett who originally fought alongside him had disappeared. Damn it. Sea Butcher Black Sam cursed and ran away without hesitation. Swish. The level of sword energy of the Supreme Swordsman passed by in a flash. Cut off dozens of tentacles in an instant. Butcher 457 Black Sam didn't even dare to look back, he just wanted to escape to the shore. Roger wanted to give chase. Cemetery. A bright thunder flashed across the sky. Rumble, rumble, thousands of thunderous cheers resounded throughout the world. Thick purple thunder struck the sky one after another. Pierced the seriously injured North Blue monster. That's Admiral. Admiral is coming. It's Raymond Admiral. Look towards the sea, Spruance Admiral is here too. The sailors cheered. The situation is doomed now. It doesn't mean much whether the two admirals arrive or not. But it still has some effect. There are two admirals in their prime. The pirates' chances of escaping will be infinitely reduced. After this battle, the alliance of kings is destined to collapse. Dark Uranus Beckett, Tia's teacher, was defeated by that guy. Interesting. The corner of Roger's mouth curled up with interest. Observation hockey radiates. 1 minute later, Roger found the undisturbed Dark Uranus Beckett near the cliff of the island. I will never let you get close to Mr. Beckett. Rox, a red-haired boy, attacked Roger regardless of the obstruction. Without even looking at him, Roger raised his foot and kicked the boy hundreds of meters away, falling into the dense forest. Are you waiting for me? Roger spoke. I want to meet you face to face no matter what. Darkness Uranus Beckett said. Don't worry, we can meet you when we get to Impel Down in the future. 17. Roger said. Boom. Beckett continued to punch. The power in the second, third, fourth and fifth reservoirs is drained. The terrifying fist wind leveled hundreds of meters in radius. Even Roger was forced to retreat more than 100 meters. It's better to avoid Impel Down. Darkness Uranus Beckett pushed up his glasses, raised his head and jumped into the cliff. Roger frowned. One step spans 100 meters. There was no one at the bottom of the cliff. The next second, Roger suddenly turned his head. He looked hundreds of meters away. A space door opens. Take the unconscious boy away together. Chapter 68. Who dropped the golden legend? Rocks dropped. Open black lens bracket 1/5. Please subscribe close black lens bracket. Advertise here. The big incident on New World Sycan Island has finally come to an end. In this era, there is an all-out war between Marines and pirates. In the end, it still ended with Marines' victory. The near future, a war taking place on this island will surely shake the entire sea. And, after this battle, the sea is also destined to usher in a period of relative peace. The battlefield of Sycan Island is riddled with holes. The operation to capture the remaining pirates of the Alliance of Kings continues. Sorry, Marshal, that Beckett escaped. Roger shook his head regretfully. Don't worry, you've done a good enough job. You deserve most of the credit for the victory in this war. I want to thank everyone who survived in the world. Marshal Orlando solemnly bowed to Roger and thanked him. If it weren't for Roger, I'm afraid they have already been defeated and wiped out by Redbeard and others. No, Marshal, you're welcome. Roger waved his hand and was about to retreat. Roger Shiryasha. A strong voice suddenly sounded behind Roger. Roger turned around and faced a man 3 meters tall. A passionate man with muscles like a horned dragon and a body that exudes the heat of a furnace. Marine Thunder Admiral Raymond. Roger, I have heard everyone tell you the detailed process. You defeated 6 king-level pirates one after another, and even Redbeard was defeated by you. You are really amazing. Admiral Raymond rubbed his hands and his eyes shone. He came in a hurry from the Island of Gods. The purpose is to have a fierce battle. The result will not be known until after. The war is nearing its end. The 6 kings were defeated by Roger alone one after another. Only Black Sam, a butcher who had lost his fighting spirit, was left to pick things up for him. Not satisfying at all. So after learning about Roger's great strength, Admiral Raymond couldn't help it. Haha, not bad. Roger grinned. Roger, if you can. Admiral Raymond just wanted to invite a fight. Roger, let's go look around and see if there are any fish that have slipped through the net. Rear Admiral Tia stepped forward and took Roger's arm. Raymond, what are you doing here? Are you lazy? Old Carl looked sideways. How come? Then hurry up and burn your youth. Yes, Mr. Carl. Admiral Raymond, who was so disturbed by a few words that he forgot his original intention, immediately set off full of energy. Raymond Admiral has always been like this. Roger, don't care. Tia reassured. I didn't care at all. Roger smiled. Let's go. Where to go? Didn't you mean to look around? Yeah, in the eyes of the sailors with envy and blessing. Roger and Tia left the camp arm in arm. Started walking around on the ruined island. Tia wanted to be alone with Roger. Roger stopped by to collect the loot. This super war involves hundreds of thousands of people. The number of attribute cards dropped is naturally huge. But I don't know if it's because Roger didn't kill many pirates with his own hands. The quality is not as good as Snow Island in the morning. Whiteboard attribute cards take up the vast majority. But Roger won't dislike it either. Take the order immediately. Unknowingly, Roger came to the cliff where Beckett escaped. More than a dozen women in white costumes bid farewell to each other in the rain. They are one of the only 2 remaining 6 kings, the White Pearl Pirates. Just a few minutes ago, the Snow Witch has already issued an order to disband the captain. Another corner of the Six Kings disintegrates. All that's left is Beckett, who runs away. Sister Sama, why disband? I can't accept this kind of thing at all. Did we go too far last night? We say that because we want you, Oni-sama, not to bear everything by yourself in the future. Sister, we really don't mean to blame you. Come back to the sea with us, Oni-sama. The remaining members of the White Pearl group were all crying and begging. The Snow Witch just shook her head stubbornly. Arabella, we're all going to be asking you for the rest, so hurry up and leave. Sister, don't worry, I'm not going to be executed. Maybe we will have a chance to meet again in the future. The Snow Witch smiled with all her charm. Finally. By order of the captain, Vice Captain Arabella took the remaining crew members to the pirate ship that Marshal Marine opened the back door and drifted away. Admiral Raymond saw it, but ignored it. The only person in charge is Admiral Spruance, who is responsible for the opposite area. Watching his friends go away. Okay, you can arrest me now, Doctor, the warden. The Snow Witch raised her hands. Miss Ace. Tia pursed her lips. Roger stepped forward. They are indeed father and daughter. Roger spoke. Esmeralda frowned slightly. Grant also disbanded his team in this way back then, and the result was not good. As you said, there is still room for recovery now. If you want to run away, just run away. I can pretend I didn't see you. Roger said. I'm different from him. At least I didn't leave my children to suffer alone in the world. Besides, I have your guarantee, Mr. Warden, right? Zara and the others will definitely be fine. The Snow Witch smiled. As long as they don't continue to commit crimes, nothing will happen. If they are caught, I will never sit idly by and watch. Roger said. Even if it's celestial dragons who capture them? Esmeralda asked. Even the celestial dragons. Roger nodded affirmatively. I can rest assured that. Snap. She put the shackles on herself. For a prisoner like her who has changed her mind and performed meritorious service. Of course not crammed into a cramped cage with other pirates. Rear Admiral Tia took the initiative to take her on board the warship and arranged a small independent room. The other side. Roger continues to pick up attribute cards. Cemetery. He glanced out of the corner of his eye. In the grass, a faint golden light flashed. Although very light. But there is no doubt that it is a golden legend. Who dropped this golden legend? A big question mark rose in Roger's mind. Golden legends will emerge about this vast war. Roger was not surprised. From the Flying Devil David Berg, he has exploded a golden fluttering card. I thought the second card would be Eric the Red's golden magma card. But maybe it was because it was knocked to the ground. I don't know where the magma card is refreshed. Roger didn't bother to look for it. Now I don't know if it is his compensation. Another golden legend appeared. Roger was not polite. Pick it up immediately. Congratulations on getting Conqueror's Hockey plus 10,000. It turned out to be Conqueror's Hockey. Roger couldn't help but feel a little surprised. Think carefully. This patch of grass seems to be. Roger thought about it. Not long ago, he kicked the impulsive boy next to Beckett to this position. Did that boy drop it? How come? Roger shook his head and returned to the temporary camp. I just happened to see the young man with a bruised nose and swollen face, practicing hard with a sad expression on his face. Hey, Shao Kong, just relax for yourself at this time. Roger smiled. Uncle Roger. No, the young boy shook his head seriously. What inspired you? Roger was puzzled. Shao Kong is unwilling to accept being beaten by a boy who was younger than him. Rear Admiral Tia came over at the right time and explained. Sister Tia. The boy's eyes widened and he ran away quickly, screaming. Oh, there is actually someone more evil than that boy Sora. Okay, Roger was surprised. Yes, that boy is really a monster, just like you. Tia said. Oh, Roger became more and more interested. Tell me in detail. I don't know the specifics. I just know that he is the one who lives next to Dark Uranus Beckett. His name seems to be Rox. Rox D. Zebek. Yes, that's right. That's the name. What, Roger, don't you know this? Tia said. Roger's mouth twitched. I really didn't expect that the person I kicked away not long ago turned out to be the future overlord of the sea, Rox. But if it is Rox, the golden legend dropped is not so difficult to understand. Then I thought about it. What if I accidentally caught Rox earlier? No. Sure enough, he still had to be kicked away. Otherwise, the sea would be a lot less fun. And about the love and death between Kong and Rox. There is also the Battle of God's Island 50 years later, and Roger is also looking forward to it. Under normal circumstances, the world government would never allow itself the opportunity to go to that island. If it were that time, I might be able to sneak into the island of gods and fish in troubled waters. Wonderful. Such a happy decision. Chapter 69 Hero Roger. Be famous in the sea. Open black lens bracket 2/5 please subscribe close black lens bracket. Advertise here. The war on Saiken Island ended. After leaving a small team of troops to clean up the battlefield. The Marine Force boarded the warship at dusk that day and set off back. Late at night, the cool moonlight shines on the sea. The Snow Witch Esmeralda leaned against the window. Holding a glass of red wine in his hand. Under the influence of drunkenness. Her beautiful fair face was stained with a blush. My head feels dizzy. I just can't sleep. Because it's right next door to her. There lived a long separated couple. And I don't know if it's intentional or not. They seem to be leaning on the wall connected to themselves. Although the sound is very slight. But based on the Snow Witch's knowledge and appearance. Naturally, it's all within earshot. This sound. For the Snow Witch, who has never had contact with a man in her 40 years of life, this is naturally a great irritation. It was so exciting that she squatted down by the wall at some point. Slender hands. For a long time. Phew. The Snow Witch raised her delicate hands. By the moonlight coming through the window. Looking at the drawing on my fingertips, I pondered for a long time. 3 days after the Seacon Island incident that decided the fate of the world. News about this major event spread across the sea. Ever since. No surprises. The whole world is trembling. Real or fake? The 6 kings of the New World Ocean were all destroyed. Are you kidding? That's almost the strongest. I heard that the 6 kings formed an alliance of kings. How did Marine manage to destroy them all? Is it possible that the Marines are all gone? Ha ha ha. The era of 6 kings has come to an end, and now comes the era of me alone. Young ones, follow your old age and enter the new world. People around the world are talking about it. Marine is indeed out in force, but I also got a tip that there is another man who played an indispensable role in this big incident. Who is it? Impel Down, the former warden, White Yaksha Roger Chester. Nani, why is it Impel Down? Isn't that a big prison? What does the warden of the big prison have to do with this incident? As far as I know, Impel Down's Shireyasha and Marine's Carl Vice Admiral are close friends. This time the pirates are going to publicly execute Vice Admiral, which made him angry. So that White Yaksha first destroyed the flying demon David Berg, and then single-handedly defeated Eric the Redbeard, turning the tide of the war. If it weren't for Shireyasha, Marine would most likely lose this war. Wow, really? If it's true, then that Shiro Yaksha is simply the hero of the world. Yes, he is a hero. But why is there so little coverage about this hero? I know. It is said that he has a fierce appearance like a Yaksha, so he is called White Yaksha. The reason why he is not reported is so as not to scare everyone. That's right, that Yaksha-like appearance alone is so frightening that the prisoners in Impel Down dare not move. Even the big pirate with a bounty of over 100 million will honestly follow his schedule in front of him. Across the world, the debate continues in the streets. The topic gradually went off the rails. As for why Roger didn't report to the newspaper. Naturally, it's because the world government is getting in the way. The world government has even tried its best to control the fishing debate. Trying to erase all of Roger's achievements and add them to Marine's activity. To this, Roger didn't care. Marine Marshal Orlando, Old Carl, and all the sailors involved in the war. Even the vested interests of Admiral Raymond and Admiral Spruance. All the righteous Marines couldn't bear it. Marshal Orlando did not give any orders. The sailors independently conveyed the truth to major news agencies and familiar friends through telephone bugs. Especially because Vice Admiral Mountbatten and others, who were saved by Roger, left the team midway and went to a news agency headquarters to be interviewed. In this way, only then did the truth about this major incident and Roger's great achievements become known to the public. The name of the hero Roger officially resounds throughout the sea. Red Line Vertex. Holy Land Mariajoy. The people who represent the most powerful people in the world are gathered together. The expressions on the old faces were not pretty. Humph, Marine, what a bunch of ungrateful people. I don't even know I can catch the credit I got for free. The bald birthmark Old Star and the warrior Old Star snorted coldly. Now that the matter is over, let's just expose it. It won't have any impact on us anyway. The Impel Down kids' activity this time has indeed solved a serious problem for us. The blonde 5 elders said. Compared with the news, I'm more concerned about the strength of that Impel Down kid. It's just a flying devil. He even defeated the red-bearded Eric by himself. This is already above the Admiral. The curly-haired aristocratic Old Star shook his head in shock. CDEJ. HMPH, so what if he is stronger? There are no pirates worth noting on the sea now. If he dares to cause trouble, he will be dealt with directly. Bald birthmark 5 elders snorted coldly. That's right, we don't need to be polite to him anymore. Merit comes from merit. It's true that he defied the ban privately and escaped from Impel Down. When he comes back, let him apologize with the 6 styles. The Samurai 5 elders sneered. Can it really go smoothly? 1 week after the big event, a fleet of warships loaded with 10,000 small pirates landed on Impel Down. Snapped. Bang bang bang. Countless fireworks exploded. Welcome back, Roger the hero. Almost all the guards of the large prison gathered on the sea level. With excitement on his face, he welcomed the return of the hero. 800 years of deep sea prison. Roger is the first man to win the title of hero on behalf of Impel Down. This is also an unprecedented honor for the entire Impel Down. Roger becomes a hero. Everyone at Impel Down is also proud. At this moment, even if you don't have any position, Roger's prestige in Impel Down has surpassed that of Director Columbus. Become the top leader of the Grand Prison. Uncle, I'm back. Roger landed on the connecting bridge first. Just come back. Just come back. You are the pride of our Impel Down. Roger. The smile on the old face of Impel Down director Columbus bloomed like a flower. Columbus, you really have a good relative. Old Carl said with envy. Ha ha ha, Carl, you are back alive too. Hey, don't you want me to die? No way. I don't care. This matter can't be solved without 10 jars of wine. Ha ha ha. Okay. Didn't get involved in the old guy's reminiscing. Roger walked straight to the warden Macaw. Sorry, it's a little damaged. Roger returned the damaged guard's cloak to Macaw. It doesn't matter. Broken ones are the best. Macaw quickly took it. There was an expression on his face as if he had found a treasure. After all, it is a symbol of heroic battle. There is only one like this in the world. This can be considered a family heirloom. Not only Macaw, but the other jailers were also greedy. Looking at the guard wearing a long cloak, his mouth watered. No matter what you look at, this is mine, Macaw said seriously with a straight face. Saying that, he quickly ran back to his room and planned to treasure it. Ha 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 ha, then everyone will start to get busy again. The number of baptisms this time is much higher than last time. Roger said loudly. Oh, it's already been prepared. Without further ado, let's get started. The jailers responded in unison. The baptism and imprisonment procedures were carried out in an orderly manner. Because Admiral Cook was seriously injured, Tia stayed at the headquarters not long ago and did not come over. Therefore, Roger could only come in person to baptize special prisoners. Let's go, Miss Esme. Roger made a gesture of please. The Snow Witch Esmeralda looked calm. He walked into the separate baptistry room prepared by Roger. So, do you need my help next? Roger smiled. The calmness on the Snow Witch's cold and beautiful face was no longer there. Chapter 70 Kill Mariajoy. One type of tempest kick kicks open the gate of the Holy Land. Open black lens bracket 3/5 please subscribe close black lens bracket. Advertise here. Gudong. Gudong. Separate small baptistry. The boiling water in the vat was bubbling. Puffs of hot water steam rose up. Instead of rising, the indoor temperature has a downward trend. What's wrong? The famous Snow Witch shouldn't be frightened by mere boiling water baptism, right? Besides, what I gave you doesn't seem to be seastone handcuffs. Roger smiled. Impel Down is so big, doesn't he even have a female jailer? Finally, the witch couldn't help but speak. I don't think this is appropriate, so I openly recruited people, but no one wanted to come. Roger spread his hands and expressed his helplessness. Snow Witch, is it possible that Miss Esme wants others to witness the baptism? My useless subordinates will definitely be very happy. Roger smiled slightly and turned around to go out. Shua, the cold wind is biting. The Snow Witch came to Roger in one step. Just stop it. Don't speak or get out of the way. Okay, I won't tease you anymore. Let's get started. Roger said. Turn around. The Snow Witch said. Become. Roger agreed. However, he had no intention of turning around. Watching with unblinking eyes, feeling the undisguised, quality gaze behind him. Esmeralda's delicate body stiffened. A good moment. She sighed softly, seeming to have made up her mind. Shishisuosuo. The white outfit fell to the ground. A peerless cave body as perfect as ivory appeared in Roger's sight. Tisk tisk, you really deserve to be number one in the world. Roger sighed. A blush appeared on the Snow Witch's beautiful face. He hurriedly entered the baptistry. Snow fruit ability activates quietly. The boiling water baptism that was supposed to be a torture turned into a comfortable hot spring. The comfortable Snow Witch hummed softly. Ta ta. I don't know when. Roger came closer. What are you up to? The Snow Witch was a little flustered. Long time ago. She had heard others say it. Impel Down is very unfriendly to female prisoners. Some people with good looks would even be subjected to various. Although Roger promised that that kind of thing would not happen to him. But that was for other jailers, not herself. If Miss Tia knew, you. Don't get me wrong, I'm just fulfilling my duties as a jailer. Speaking of which, Miss Esme, are you really here for vacation? You even took a dip in the hot spring. Roger scooped up a bucket of warm water. The Snow Witch's pretty face turned red again, this time out of embarrassment. Okay, you barely passed the test, come out quickly. Roger urged. Esmeralda nodded honestly. Water splashes. The body with water drops adds a bit of touching beauty. Roger's little heart couldn't help but beat. Does it look good? Esmeralda suddenly asked out of nowhere. It's not bad. As a 40-year-old eldest sister, she is indeed impeccable. Roger nodded seriously. The Snow Witch was furious. Help the clumsy Snow Witch change into a clean prison uniform. Only then did Roger bring her back into people's sight. Wow, that's the legendary Snow Witch. The most beautiful woman in the world in this sea for the past 20 years. That's great. Lord Roger. Idiot. What are you thinking? Is that an existence you can covet? Don't even think about it. The Snow Witch is Lord Roger's only forbidden love. If you know, go back to work quickly. Yes. Ignoring the gossips of the jailers. Roger took the Snow Witch on the elevator to the director's office of Blazing Hell on the 4th underground floor. He took the key to the freezing hell on the 5th underground floor with ease. A few minutes later, the two enter the freezing hell. How is it? Are you satisfied with this environment? Originally, according to your position, you were going to eternal hell. Because of the special treatment, you are allowed to stay here. Roger said. Well, I quite like it here. Esmeralda nodded with satisfaction. As a snow fruit, she naturally enjoys the ice and snow environment the most. As long as you like it, then come with me. Roger waved. Take Esmeralda deep into the center of the snowfield. Finally, we stopped in front of a cabin in the woods. This is my cell from now on. The expression on the snow witch's face alternated between being stunned and cute. Not satisfied. I'll give you another room. Roger said casually. Oh no, I'm satisfied. I'm satisfied. I'm very satisfied. Esmeralda nodded like a chicken pecking at rice. Live in a small house with an independent yard. Not so much for going to jail. It's really more like a retirement vacation. Roger pushed open the cabin. Open a secret passage with ease. Down here is the 5.5th floor underground. It's my personal space. Lydia and old Carl will come here on weekdays. If you're bored, you can come and hang out. There are several similar entrances. If you are interested, you can find them by yourself. It's just for fun. Roger introduced. Snow Witch. Did I really come here for retirement? And my room actually has your secret passage. You really have no intention of doing anything to me. Even if you look young. But the Snow Witch is actually 40 years old. A female junior is holding a gold brick. For her who can hold 3 gold bricks. Roger really doesn't have any ideas at the moment. After the introduction, Roger went straight to the 5.5th floor. The Snow Witch, who was thinking a lot, was left alone in silence. 3 days passed by. The buzz around the world about Impel Down Shirayasha has escalated. Thanks to the efforts of the sailors. More and more information about Roger is leaking out, and there are even many private photos, clarifying the rumors about Yasha's appearance. In addition, the whole story of Roger's dismissal as warden 5 years ago was also announced, which made countless civilians filled with indignation. The reason why Marine Marshal Orlando and old Carl spared no effort to promote Roger's reputation. The purpose is naturally to lift the century-old ban on world government. In addition, Director Columbus has already reached the age of retirement. It's time to choose a new heir. Roger is naturally the best candidate. To facilitate this, Naval Headquarters is preparing to hold a hero recognition conference for the world. However, he didn't wait for the headquarters commendation meeting to begin. An order from the 5 elders, the world's highest authority, came directly to Impel Down. Roger, because you broke the 5 elders ban and left Impel Down a few days ago, the higher-ups are very dissatisfied with this. Impel Down Deputy Director Charles spoke arrogantly. What did you say? Roger went out this time to save people. Master Roger is the hero of the world. If it weren't for Lord Roger, how could the pirates in the New World have been wiped out? Please give me flowers. What do you, the world government, want to do? The jailers were all filled with indignation. Be bold, be bold. I am the deputy director. Charles was stern and restrained, acting like a deputy director. The angry stares of the jailers made him tremble. He was afraid that these reckless men would eat him alive in the next second. Roger waved his hand. The commotion of the jailers subsided instantly. But he still looked at Deputy Director Charles with a bad look. Then, those 5 old men should have said more than just this. Roger asked with a smile. 5 old men. Forget it, you know what you are doing. My lord has said that you need to make up for breaking the rules. It was not your fault alone that defeated the Pirate Alliance, so it doesn't count. So, what do they want? The 5 elders are very interested in the 6 postures you are studying. Please turn it in now. Charles finally showed his true nature. The real purpose is still 6 styles. Oh, I want 6 postures. Roger's eyes narrowed slightly. Originally, Roger studied the 6 forms and had no intention of hiding it all the time. If the world government wants it, there will always be various channels later. Even Roger can't completely prevent it. 0. It's just that they quietly get it and arrogantly ask him for it. These are 2 different things and should be discussed separately. In the former case, Roger could just turn a blind eye. The latter, haha, you really treat me as a soft persimmon who can be manipulated at will. The aura around Roger became increasingly dangerous. You, what do you want to do? Charles suddenly broke into a cold sweat. It's nothing, don't be afraid, Deputy Director, the 5 elders want the 6 styles. Okay, let's go to the Holy Land right now, and I'll give it to them myself. Roger smiled. Real. Charles's eyes lit up, wanting to lead the way. Suddenly, he seemed to have thought of something. By the way, there's also the Snow Witch. Bring that woman with you too. Is this also the request of the 5 elders? Roger asked. No, this is Taruta's request. That woman attacked that gentleman before. Taruta heard that she was caught and wanted to take her as a slave. Charles said. Celestial dragons, I just happened to be there this time. If he wants someone, let him talk to me himself. Roger spoke domineeringly. B2. Do you have any further opinions? No. No more. Charles broke into a cold sweat again. Dare not say another word. He quickly took Roger on board the warship and headed to the Holy Land Mariajoy. Until I watched the warship go away. Macaw Warden. Us. The jailers looked at the Warden Macaw anxiously. But I saw that Macaw had already prepared the phone bug and dialed. Director Columbus, this is bad. 2 hours later. Roger takes the special bubble lift to the top of the red line. Not far ahead, a huge city stands on the red earth. That's the Holy Land, Mariajoy. The most filthy and dark place in the world. Not long after, Charles took Roger to the gate of the Holy Land. Wait a moment, I'll go make a report. Charles was about to step forward diligently. However, Roger's footsteps continued. No need to go to all this trouble. Roger grinned. Take a sharp step forward with your left foot. Lift your right foot high. Swipe gently at the entrance gate of the Holy Land. Tempest kick. Boom. Boom. The gate of the Holy Land exploded with a loud sound.